Chapter 1921, Reunion of Master and Disciple. Chapter 1921, Reunion of Master and Disciple. Everyone started bidding for the Chaos Gem. Very quickly, the price of the Chaos Gem was raised to 500,000 superior-grade raw stones. However, at this price, the number of people bidding decreased. After all, this Chaos Gem no longer had any Chaos Chi and could only be considered a smithing material. Although it could be used to forge monarch weapons, there was still a chance of success. If it failed, the material would be wasted. As such, unless it was a complete sovereign weapon, the materials would not be as expensive as they were. Soon, the price reached around 800,000 raw gemstones, and almost no one else raised the bid. 800,000 raw stones. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? The old man in charge asked, his voice reverberating throughout the auction house. 1 million. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his mouth and called out a high price of 1 million. Previously, he had not made a bid because he wanted to wait for the auction to start so that he could win it in one fell swoop. The host's eyes lit up. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "This young master has bid 1 million superior-grade raw stones. Are there any higher bids?" After that, the old man asked 3 times, but no one made a bid. 1 million superior-grade raw stones was already on the high side for a chaotic stone without any chaotic chi. Naturally, no one made a bid. In the end, Lu Ming bought the raw gemstone at the price of 1 million. A young and beautiful lady came to Lu Ming with the stone of chaos. "Young master, this is a rock of chaos." The young woman said, meaning that they would hand over the money and the goods at the same time. "May first ask if I can use my monarch weapon to pay?" Lu Ming said, "Of course you can." The young woman smiled. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. A pair of tiny wings appeared in his palm. Then, the wings slowly grew larger and exuded a strong emperor aura. Lu Ming had obtained this pair of wings from the Golden Crow Crown Prince when he killed him. This is a monarch weapon. Many people's eyes lit up. I didn't expect this young man to have a monarch weapon. Some people's eyes flashed with greed. He's so young and he already has a monarch weapon. He must be a heaven's chosen from the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. Someone else said. These words caused the hearts of those who had previously been greedy to tremble, and they dispelled their greed. Almost all of the geniuses of the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy came from powerful forces. If one wanted to lay their hands on these people, they might not even be able to survive. Of course, you can use your monarch weapon to offset the price. You can auction your monarch weapon directly and the extra raw gemstones will be given to you on the spot. The young woman said with a smile. "Then let's do this." Lu Ming nodded and handed the monarch weapon to the young lady. The young lady then passed the storage ring with the chaos gems to Lu Ming. Right after that, the auction started with Lu Ming's sovereign weapon. In the end, the sovereign weapon was sold for 5 million high-grade raw stones. After deducting the 1 million stones of chaos and the handling fee, Lu Ming was left with nearly 4 million high-grade raw stones. The bidding continued. The further it went, the more precious the treasures were. Even true emperors and martial emperors had joined the bidding for the last few treasures. The prices had reached a jaw-dropping level, which was an eye-opener for Lu Ming. Compared to those martial sovereigns and even true sovereigns, his wealth was simply a drop in the ocean. Finally, with the success of the last treasure, the auction came to an end. After the auction ended, Lu Ming left the auction house in advance and waited outside. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. From the auction house, many figures flew out and flew in all directions of Heavenly Emperor City. Suddenly, Lu Ming saw an old man flying out of the auction house with a young girl. Fragrance! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Although the young lady had grown up and was much taller, Lu Ming could tell at a glance that she was his disciple, Lu Xiangxiang. Lu Ming hurriedly chased after him. Fortunately, He Yen did not go too fast. He seemed to have the intention of bringing Xiangxiang Bella around to tour the Heavenly Emperor City. Therefore, Lu Ming could still keep up. After following them for a while, they flew for a long distance. In front of them, He Xiao and Lu Xiangxiang suddenly stopped. "Little fellow, you followed me all the way here from the auction house. What is it for?" He Qian spoke coldly, and a powerful aura burst forth. This aura was earth-shattering and heaven-shaking, causing Lu Ming's body to shake violently. He retreated 1,000 meters at an extreme speed and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This was also because the other party had shown mercy. Otherwise, he would have died with just one breath. Senior, you've misunderstood. I'm here to look for Xiang. Lu Ming quickly spoke, using his original voice. Hearing Lu Ming's voice, Xiang Bella's delicate body trembled. She revealed an extremely surprised look and shouted, Master, are you my master? What? He Qian was slightly stunned. A cold, killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes, but it disappeared in a flash and was not revealed. Xiang Smith. However, it's not convenient for me to reveal my true body now. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Xiang Bella. He was not familiar with He Qian, so he naturally kept his guard up. Master, it's really you. With a swoosh, she pounced on Lu Ming and plunged into his arms. Master, where did you go? Xiang misses you so much. Xiang Wan swallowed, tears welling up in her eyes. Silly girl, aren't we reunited now? That's right, Valley Master. Where's senior brother Tianque? Lu Ming asked. There at the He family? Xiang Bella said. The He family? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. There was a He family in the Heavenly Emperor City that was as famous as the Hung family. Lu Ming had naturally heard of them. Could it be this He family? Huh, Xiang, this little brother is the master you've always mentioned? At this moment He Xiao smiled and walked over. And that's right. He's my master. Master, this is Senior He Qian, the true emperor expert of the He clan. Xiang Bella introduced them to Lu Ming. Greetings, Senior. Lu Ming greeted He Qian. Young heroes indeed come from young people. Little brother, Xiang has missed you a lot during this period of time. How about this? It's rare for us to meet, so let's go to the He family first. How about it? He Qian said with a smile, showing his goodwill. And Master, let's go together. Grandpa Valley Master and Uncle Tianque will definitely be very happy to see you. Lu Xiang pulled on Lu Ming's arm, a bright smile on her face. Lu Ming nodded. Together with Xiang Bella, they followed He Qian and headed to the He family. When they arrived at the He family, Tianque and Ice Dragon Valley Master were stunned when they saw Lu Ming. However, they were overjoyed when they heard Lu Ming's voice. The few of them gathered together and chatted for a while. Lu Ming learned that when Ice Dragon Valley Master, Tianque, and Xiang Bella were separated from Xuanixin, they happened to meet He Qian and were brought back to the He family by He Qian. When Tianque and Ice Dragon Valley Master knew that Xuanixin was fine, they were naturally overjoyed. Lu Ming, I have something to discuss with you. At this time, He Xiao opened his mouth and said, Chapter 1922, Killing with a Borrowed Knife, Divine Clothes for Tribulation. Chapter 1922, Killing with a Borrowed Knife, Divine Clothes for Tribulation. He Qian spoke and said that he had something to discuss with Lu Ming. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. He Qian was a true emperor expert. What matter did he have to discuss with him? And NBSP, when Ice Dragon Valley Master heard this, his expression suddenly changed, and deep worry flashed through his eyes. Lu Ming and He Qian left their residence and came to a quiet place. It's better for you to return to your original appearance. There's no effect in changing your appearance in front of this old man. He Qian was the first to speak. He looked at Lu Ming with his bright eyes. Lu Ming's expression did not change. He had long known that He Qian would definitely be able to tell. He Qian was a true emperor expert. At such a close distance, even the divine breath technique couldn't hide from him. Moreover, when he saw Tianque and Ice Dragon Valley's master earlier, the two of them were initially stunned, but they were soon overjoyed. From this point alone, it was not difficult to guess that Lu Ming had disguised himself. With a single thought, Lu Ming returned to his original appearance and cupped his fists. Senior, Junior had his own reasons for doing so and didn't mean to hide it. What's your name? You don't need to hide it from me. It's not difficult for this old man to find out your background. He Qian's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Junior's name is Lu Ming. Lu Ming muttered his real name after a moment of silence. Just as He Qian had said, since he had revealed his true appearance, with the other party's ability, it would be easy to find out who he was. Moreover, the He family and the Heng family had a grudge. They wouldn't tell the Heng family, right? After hearing Lu Ming reveal his real name, He Qian's expression changed. You're Lu Ming, the son of chaos from the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. The Lu Ming who pulled out the celestial the arch sword and led the kings to fight against the eternal Star River? If Senior says so, then it's Junior. Lu Ming touched his nose and said, more than a year ago, Lu Ming had caused a huge commotion. Even now, the Heng family had emperor-level experts guarding outside the Yuan Mountains Saint Academy. That incident had even triggered a battle between emperor-level experts. Lu Ming's name had long spread throughout the heavenly emperor city. Anyone with some cultivation had heard of his name. I've long heard of your great name. Now that I've seen you, you're truly a peerless heaven's favorite, a true dragon among men. He Gao chuckled. Senior is too kind. I wonder why Senior has called me here? Lu Ming cupped his fists and asked. He Qian didn't specifically look for him just to ask about his true identity, right? I heard that you are Xiangxiang's master? He Qian spoke. That's right, Xiang Bella is my true disciple. Lu Ming was stunned. Lu Ming, I won't hide it from you. Xiang Bella's physique is very suitable to inherit my legacy. Therefore, I also want to take her as my last disciple. However, Xiang Bella said that it's up to you. So, you'd better persuade her to take me as her master. He Qian went straight to the point and spoke his thoughts. Senior, are you asking me to persuade my disciple to switch sides? Lu Ming's expression changed. I'm just giving her a better choice. Lu Ming, I'm the true emperor. Xiang will be able to unleash her potential better if she's under my tutelage. Furthermore, you're in a precarious situation now. You're surrounded by the Heng family. Xiang is with you. Do you want her to take the risk with you? He Gao said. This, Lu Ming looked pensive. Lu Ming, if you're doing this for Xiang, you should persuade her to join my family. She can only reach the peak with the He family's resources supporting her. He Qian continued. Senior, the matter of acknowledging a master is purely personal. One can go and persuade Xiang, but whether she is willing or not will depend on her. Lu Ming said. A sharp glint flashed in the depths of He Qian's eyes, and then he smiled and said, That's good. You go and persuade her first. Since you've reunited with an old friend, you can stay at the He family for a few more days. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists and He Qian called for someone to bring Lu Ming back to where Xiang Bella was staying. After Lu Ming left, a cold, murderous intent flashed in He Qian's eyes. You want to brush me off, you really don't know what's good for you. He Qian snorted coldly. Based on his experience, he could tell at a glance that Lu Ming was just brushing him off. He did not really want to persuade Xiang to be his master. I didn't expect the master Xiang Bella mentioned to be that brat Lu Ming. As long as that brat is dead, Xiang Bella will still have to obediently acknowledge me as her master and cultivate the 4 seasons technique. Moreover, this kid is very valuable now. A cold, killing intent flashed in He Qian's eyes. Then, he took a step out of the He clan and headed in another direction of the heavenly emperor city. Not long after, a vast palace complex appeared in front of them. This was the Heng family. He Qian wanted to kill with a borrowed knife, the Heng family's knife. Who is it? He Qian's arrival at the Heng family naturally alerted the Heng family's experts. Boom! The aura of a true emperor erupted from He Qian's body, enveloping the entire hall of the Heng family. Get your true emperor to come out and see me. He Qian's voice rang out. The next moment, a terrifying aura erupted from the Heng family's palace complex. A middle-aged man stepped out and stood in the air, looking at He Qian. He Qian, you old fogey, why have you come to my Heng family? The true emperor expert from the Heng clan said coldly. The Heng family and the He family had never been on good terms since ancient times, so he naturally didn't treat He Qian well. I'm here to make a deal with you. He Qian said with a slight smile. What deal? The Heng clan's true emperor said. It's regarding Lu Ming's deal. He Gao said. Lu Ming? Isn't he in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy? Don't tell me you have a way to enter the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy and capture Lu Ming? The Heng family's true emperor sneered in disdain. There were 3 great emperors in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. Even the great emperor from the Heng family had no way of entering the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy directly to capture Lu Ming. He didn't believe that the other party had a way. Who said that Lu Ming is in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute now? He Qian smiled. Not at the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. Impossible. Our Heng family has always had experts guarding the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. The Heng clan's true emperor's expression changed. That's because you Heng family people are useless. Lu Ming has already left the Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute. He Gao sneered. He Qian, do you know where Lu Ming is? The Heng clan's true emperor's eyes lit up. That's right, but I can't give you the information for free. You have to pay a price. He Gao said. What do you need? The Heng clan's true emperor's eyes narrowed. Divine tribulation clothes. He Qian slowly opened his mouth. The Heng clan's true emperor's expression changed drastically as he shouted, divine clothing for tribulation transcendence. He Qian, you're simply asking for an exorbitant price. This is impossible. To a martial emperor, the divine clothes for tribulation transcendence were shockingly valuable. This was because the divine robe could help martial sovereigns transcend their tribulations. It was several times more valuable than ordinary tribulation transcending heavenly treasures. An ordinary tribulation transcending heavenly treasure was completely useless to a martial emperor powerhouse. However, the divine clothing for tribulation transcendence was extremely useful to even void emperors and true emperors. It could increase the success rate of transcending the tribulation. Chapter 1923. Escape from the He family? Chapter 1923. Escape from the He family. Every 33,333 years, a martial emperor powerhouse would have to face a calamity of heaven and earth, and each calamity would be more powerful than the last. Since ancient times, countless experts, peerless emperor-level experts, had all turned into dust under RHE heavenly tribulation. There were very, very few people who could stay alive. Since they had reached the true emperor realm, no one would be willing to die under a great tribulation. Therefore, a divine robe that could increase the chances of a martial emperor transcending a tribulation was extremely valuable to a martial emperor. If he could survive one tribulation, he would be able to live for another 300,000 years. In these 300,000 years, he could go to some dangerous places to take risks and obtain opportunities. His cultivation might even rise to a higher level, and he might be able to survive the next tribulation. The moment He Qian opened his mouth, he wanted to wear the divine tribulation robe. No wonder the Heng clan's true emperor had such a big reaction. I'm telling you, Lu Ming will return to the Yuan Mountains Saint Academy soon. When he returns, it will be impossible for you to take him down and get the Celestial Emperor sword. You have to think carefully, which is more important, the divine clothing or the Celestial Emperor's sword. He Gao sneered. The Heng family's true emperor's expression flickered as if he was considering the possibility. The divine clothes for tribulation transcendence, give it to him. At this moment, another voice came from the Heng family's palace. Then, a white-haired elder stepped out. This person was also a true emperor. He Qian's expression changed slightly. His figure moved and retreated 100 miles, afraid that he would be besieged by the other party. The He family and the Heng family had been enemies since ancient times, so he naturally had to be on guard. He Qian, I can give you the divine clothing for tribulation transcendence, but I hope you don't lie to us. Otherwise, the Heng family will kill you even if we have to mobilize all our forces. The white-haired old man said coldly. Give me the divine clothing for tribulation transcendence, and I'll bring you to Lu Ming. He Gao said. All right, I'll give it to you. The white-haired elder nodded and returned to the Heng family. After a while, he came out again and waved his hand. A storage ring flew towards He Qian. He Qian received it and scanned it with his spiritual sense. His face revealed a look of wild joy. This time, it was really killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He could get rid of Lu Ming, make Lu Xiangxiang give up on him, take him as her master, cultivate the 4 seasons technique, and obtain the divine clothing for the tribulation. As long as his plan succeeded, he was 90% confident that he would be able to survive this disaster and increase his lifespan by another 33,333 years. He Qian, can you tell me now? Where is Lu Ming? The true emperor from the Heng family asked. Lu Ming, stay as a guest in my mansion. He Qian smiled proudly. Let's go, we'll go with you. The Heng clan's white-haired true emperor said. Together with the previous true emperor, they followed He Qian and headed towards the He clan. After Lu Ming and He Qian separated, he frowned. He did nor expect that the other party actually wanted to take Xiang as a disciple. A true emperor taking Xiang as a disciple was naturally a good thing for her. However, Lu Ming did not know why, but he felt uncomfortable when he was with He Qian. He felt that He Qian did not simply want to take Xiang Bella as his disciple. He Qian gave Lu Ming an extremely dangerous feeling. Therefore, when he promised He Qian just now to persuade Xiang, it was purely perfunctory. We have to bring Xiang and the rest away as soon as possible. As long as we enter the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy, we will be safe. But how do we bring them away? Lu Ming quickly thought of countermeasures in his mind. After a while, he saw Xiang Bella's courtyard. Outside the courtyard, Ice Dragon Valley Master was pacing back and forth, seemingly very anxious. The master of the ice-cold valley was overjoyed to see Lu Ming. The person who led the way also said his goodbyes and left. Lu Ming, what did He Qian say to you? Is he asking you to persuade Xiang to acknowledge him as her master? Ice-cold Valley Master hurried over and asked. That's right. Valley Master, you know about it too? Lu Ming nodded and answered. Lu Ming, you must not agree to He Qian's request. Otherwise, Xiang will be in danger. Ice-cold Valley Master said anxiously. Valley Master, what's going on? Lu Ming's expression changed and he asked. He Qian is most likely making use of Xiang. The ice-cold Valley Master immediately explained that He Qian might have used Xiang to cultivate and resist the heavenly tribulation. What? Detestable! Lu Ming was shocked after hearing that. He roared in anger and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. He Qian wanted to take Xiang as his disciple. He was not sincere at all. He only wanted to make use of Xiang. No wonder Lu Ming had a bad feeling previously. Not good. He Qian knows my true identity. He definitely won't let me go. We have to leave immediately. Suddenly, Lu Ming's expression changed. At this moment, all kinds of possibilities flashed through Lu Ming's mind. If he was He Qian, he would have killed Lu Ming directly. This way, it would be much easier for Xiang Bella to join another sect without her master. He could even go to the Heng family to seek benefits, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. At the thought of this, Lu Ming was extremely anxious. Valley Master, let's go. We have to leave the Heng family immediately. Having said that, Lu Ming rushed into the courtyard. When he saw Xiang Bella and Tian Chui, Lu Ming immediately summoned the mountain and river diagram and said, Valley Master, Xiang, senior brother, quickly enter the mountain and river diagram. They'll take you are of the He family. Master, this is... Xiang Bella revealed a puzzled expression. There's no time to explain, hurry. Lu Ming shouted. A white light flashed and Xiang Bella and Tian Chui were kept into the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming, do you have any way to get out? Ice Dragon Valley Master asked anxiously. Valley Master, don't worry. I have my ways. However, I need to borrow your clothes. Lu Ming said. The Valley Master's eyes flickered. Then, a set of clothes appeared in his hand and he handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming then put the Valley Master into the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming's body began to transform into the appearance of the Ice Dragon Valley Master. Even his aura was exactly the same. Lu Ming quickly changed into Ice Dragon Valley Master's clothes and walked outside. Ice Dragon Valley Master and the others were allowed to move within a certain range. And NBSP as Ice Dragon Valley Master walked out, he secretly glanced at him, but he only glanced at him and ignored him. Lu Ming walked around and came to a remote place. There were no longer any eyes watching him. At this moment, He happened to meet a middle-aged man walking towards him. Lu Ming glanced around and could tell that Arichi middle-aged man had the cultivation base of the great sage initial realm. Lu Ming walked toward the man without a word. When he got close, Lu Ming struck R like lightning and knocked Arichi man unconscious. Then, he took off the man's clothes and changed into them. Following that, Lu Ming's figure began to transform into the man's appearance. The middle-aged man was thrown into the mountain and river diagram by Lu Ming. Then, Lu Ming swaggered out of the He family's gate. Along the way, no one stopped him. Very soon, Lu Ming left the He family residence smoothly. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly as soon as he left the He residence. He saw a few figures in the distance rushing into He residence at a terrifying speed. One of them was He Qian. There really are experts from the Heng family. Lu Ming's eyes were gloomy. He had seen the other two people who came with He Qian. They were two of the three true emperors from the Heng family who had entered the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy to capture him. Chapter 1924. Chapter 1924, Suicide. Chapter 1924. Chapter 1924. Suicide, let's go. 11 Lu Ming did not hesitate. He accelerated to his maximum speed and rushed towards the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. He wanted to use the fastest speed to return to the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. On the other side, He Qian brought the two true emperors from the Heng clan to the He clan and arrived outside Lu Xiangxiang's residence. Lu Ming, I'll leave it to you. It's not convenient for me to go in. You can't touch the little girl inside. As for the others, you can do as you please. One He Qian warned. The two true emperors from the Heng clan nodded and stepped out. They arrived in the air above Xiangxiang Bella's courtyard and scanned the area with their spiritual senses. With a single glance, their faces darkened and a hint of anger flashed in their eyes. The two of them moved and arrived in front of He Gao, their eyes burning with anger. He Shao, you dare to play with us? One the white-haired true emperor said coldly. Playing with you? Why do you say that? One He Shao's face darkened as he said this. He did not know why, but he suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. There's no one in the courtyard. Are you playing with us? The expression of the other true emperor from the Heng family became even uglier. He Qian's expression changed drastically. There's no one here. How is that possible? He Qian said. After saying that, he rushed into the courtyard like a gust of wind and swept out his spiritual sense violently. There was no one. The courtyard was empty. Damn it, where are they? He Qian bellowed in rage. His spiritual consciousness spread out to the other residences of the He family like a storm. However, he did not find Lu Ming and the rest anywhere it passed. Buzz. Buzz. At this moment, two figures flew out and landed in front of He Hao. They were the experts that He Yen had used to secretly monitor Xiangxiang and the others. Where are they? Where are the people in the courtyard? He Qian roared in rage. His face was twisted in anger. People, weren't they in the courtyard? We didn't see them come out. Could it be? It's an estate world treasure. The two of them thought of something, and their expressions changed drastically. You two idiots! He Qian rebuked angrily, his eyes flashing with cold, killing intent. He said in a low voice, the art of disguise. Lu Ming is proficient in the art of disguise. I didn't expect this kid to be so meticulous. I was too careless. Although he knew that Lu Ming was proficient in the art of disguise, he had thought that Lu Ming would at least stay at the He family for a day. He had already rushed over to look for the Heng family. As long as Lu Ming stayed any longer, he would not be able to escape. He did not expect that as soon as he left, Lu Ming brought Xiangxiang Bella and the rest and left the He family. He knew that he had miscalculated. He Shao, what tricks are you playing? If you want to lie to us, hand over the divine tribulation robe. The two true emperors from the Heng clan appeared on either side of He Qian with dark expressions. Their powerful auras enveloped He Qian. You too, this is the He family. He Qian said coldly. The expressions of the two true emperors from the Heng clan changed. That's right, this was the He family. If he made a move against He Qian, he would definitely be attacked by the experts of the He family. At that time, they would all be in danger. He Qian, The Hung family's tribulation-transcending outfit isn't that easy to trick. If you don't return it, you'll have to wait for the Hung family's revenge unless you hide in the He family forever. The white-haired true emperor of the Heng family said coldly, and the aura around him became even stronger. What are you guys so anxious about? No matter where that little bastard Lu Ming is hiding, I will be able to find him. He Qian sneered. Then he began to form a magical seal with both hands. This was the seal to control the soul-devouring insects. No matter how far away they were, as long as he formed the seal, he could control the soul-devouring insects and sense Lu Ming's location through them. Lu Ming used all his strength and flew towards the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy like a bolt of lightning. The He clan wasn't too far away from the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy. He was rapidly approaching the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's expression changed. He sensed that something was happening in the mountain and river diagram. With a thought, Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram. Part of his mind controlled the mountain and river diagram and continued to fly towards the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy. As soon as Lu Ming entered, he saw the Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley holding his head with his hands and roaring like a wild beast. His face was full of pain. And NBSP, the Ice Dragon Valley Master's head heavily smashed into the mountain, causing it to shake and sending debris flying. Grandpa Valley Master, what's wrong? Xiang Bela stood at the side, not knowing what to do, her eyes filled with tears. Poisoned, Valley Master must have been poisoned. Damn it, that He Qian is so vicious. Tian Chui roared. And NBSP just now, Ice Dragon Valley Master had already explained the matter to them, so they understood the cause and effect. He Qian let Xiang cultivate the Four Seasons technique because he wanted to use Xiangxiang's primordial yin to improve himself. How vicious! The two of them felt a wave of fear after hearing that. Valley Master, what poison did you get? Lu Ming came to the side of Ice Dragon Valley Master and asked. It's the soul-devouring insects. He Qian has already returned to the He family and knows that we have escaped. This is bad. He can determine our location through the soul-devouring insects. Lu Ming, kill me. And NBS kill. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. Damn it. How did this happen? Tianche, Xiang Bela, and Lu Ming's faces were extremely ugly. Quickly kill me. Otherwise, He Qian will catch up with me very soon. You're courting death. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. His originally gentle face was now twisted in pain. His head slammed heavily on the mountain peak once more, creating a huge pit. And NBSP Ice Dragon Valley Master's face was covered in blood, his white hair scattered. Even with his status as the Valley Master and his absolute Saint Realm cultivation, he still found it difficult to endure. It was clear how terrifying he was. The hearts of Lu Ming and the other two started to tremble. He Qian, I will definitely kill you. Lu Ming roared in his heart. His eyes were filled with endless killing intent. Hurry up and do it. And NBS kill. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. Valley Master. Grandpa Valley Master, we can't do it. Xiang Bela shook her head repeatedly. How is it possible for them to kill the Ice Dragon Valley Master? Valley Master, we will reach the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy soon. After we reach the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy, one will think of a way to ask the Emperor to help you take out the soul-devouring insects. Lu Ming shouted. It's too late. He Qian will catch up with us very soon. By then, none of us will be able to escape. I'm old and my cultivation has reached its limit. One have no hope of breaking through in the future, but you can't die. You have a bright future. Dragon God Valley will depend on you in the future. Hurry up and do it. And NBS kill. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. No, you can't. The three of them shook their heads firmly. If you guys aren't going to do it, then I'll do it myself. Die. Ice Dragon Valley Master roared. The saint energy in his body surged crazily, then rushed to his head. Not good. Lu Ming, Tian Chui, and Xiang Bela's faces changed drastically. However, it was too late for him to stop it. Boom. And NBSP, a boom exploded in Ice Dragon Valley Master's mind, and then he stood there in a daze. Valley Master! Grandpa Valley Master! Lu Ming and the other two turned pale with fright and rushed to the side of Ice Dragon Valley Master. And NBSP, but at this moment, Ice Dragon Valley Master was no longer breathing. He had died and destroyed his own soul to avoid being located by He Qian. Chapter 1925. Chapter 1925, Killing Intent. Chapter 1925. Chapter 1925 Killing Intent. Ice Dragon Valley Master had destroyed his own soul. Once the soul was destroyed, the soul would be scattered and the martial artist would naturally die. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming's body exploded with a terrifying aura. His body exuded an extremely cold killing intent, causing the temperature in the mountain and river diagram to drop rapidly. He Qian, He family, I, Lu Ming, will definitely get my revenge. Lu Ming roared in his heart and his eyes were bloodshot. Although the Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley had not known Lu Ming for a long time, he was a gentle person. Back then, he had always stood on Lu Ming's side and helped him a lot with the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. He was a humble and kind elder who always thought for the younger generation and Dragon God Valley. He had chosen to die in order to preserve the hope of Dragon God Valley. He could die, but Lu Ming and the rest could not. Beside him, Tian Chui clenched his fists tightly, his killing intent incomparably thick. Grandpa Valley Master! Xiang Bella hugged Ice Dragon Valley Master tightly and cried. Over the past few years, Ice Dragon Valley Master had led them on the run. They had experienced too much and had long established a deep relationship. But now, she also understood that He Qian had planted soul-devouring insects in Ice Dragon Valley's master long ago, but he had never told her. She didn't know how much he had suffered for her in secret. However, she didn't know any of those hardships. This time, Ice Dragon Valley Master had chosen to commit suicide not because he couldn't bear the pain, but because of them. Thinking of this, Xiang Bella was in even more pain. One will definitely take revenge for this. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. Then, with a thought, he left the mountain and river diagram and rushed towards the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute with all his might. He understood that now was not the time to be sad. Ice Dragon Valley Master had committed suicide because of them. They could not let down Ice Dragon Valley Master's painstaking efforts. Lu Ming flew at high speed, getting closer and closer to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. In the He family, He Qian's expression suddenly changed. Damn old dogs, you actually committed suicide, but you won't be able to escape from my hands. He Gao shouted in anger and said to the two true emperors of the Heng clan, Lu Ming is rushing to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy at full speed. Chase after him. Buzz. 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 The three true emperor powerhouses moved and disappeared without a trace, chasing after Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew at full speed. However, he did not fly in from the main gate of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. Instead, he flew from the side of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. There was a Heng clan martial emperor guarding the main gate of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. If the Heng clan martial emperor received the news and stopped him, he would not be able to enter the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute. In front, the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy was already in sight. The saint energy in Lu Ming's body circulated at full force as he rushed towards the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. Sila. At this moment, the void behind Lu Ming shattered and a few figures stepped out from the spatial crack. It was He Qian and the two true emperors from the Heng family. He Qian swept his gaze and saw Lu Ming flying at full speed. Lu Ming, get over here! He Qian bellowed. He stretched out his hand and a huge hand formed, grabbing at Lu Ming. Explode, 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 go! Lu Ming roared. The saint energy in his body exploded like gunpowder, producing a shocking power that increased his speed. This method couldn't last long, only for a short time, and it was very harmful to the body. But now Lu Ming could not care so much. Lu Ming's speed increased sharply and he rushed out of the range of He Qian's large hand, rushing into the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Not good. He has rushed into the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. What should we do? The two true emperors from the Heng family had ugly expressions. If Lu Ming rushed into the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute, he would be under the protection of the institute. 111 Take him down no matter where I go. He Qian's face was ferocious and filled with cold killing intent. Lu Ming actually dared to take Lu Xiangxiang away. He deserved to die. Lu Xiangxiang was related to whether he would be able to survive the next major tribulation. This was more important than anything else. If Lu Ming dared to stop him, he could not wait to cut him into 1,000 pieces. And that old dog, Ice Dragon, actually killed himself. He really got off easy. Buzz. He Qian rushed straight into the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. He stretched out his hand and condensed another huge hand, grabbing towards Lu Ming. This huge hand covered the sky and covered the sun. This time, Lu Ming could not escape at all. However, at this moment, a beam of divine light burst out from the depths of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. The divine light was like a sword. With a slash, He Qian's huge hand instantly shattered. The terrifying divine light did not stop and continued to slash towards He Hao. Boom. He Qian tried his best, but it was still useless. He was directly sent flying out of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. His face was as pale as paper, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His aura was extremely weak. A hole had appeared in his chest, and the terrifying destructive power was corroding his flesh. Great Emperor! He Qian muttered, revealing a deep fear. A true emperor actually dares to attack a disciple of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Do you think my words are nonsense? An ancient voice rang out from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. As the last word was spoken, a sound wave surged towards He Qian and the two true emperors from the Heng clan. The three of them had a huge change in expression as they frantically retreated. However, their bodies still trembled and they were severely injured. Especially He Qian, his injuries were even more severe. If there's a next time, I'll kill. The great emperor's voice rang out again, and then it fell silent. Damn it! He Qian bellowed in his heart. He looked at Lu Ming in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, his heart filled with unwillingness. Lu Ming had taken Lu Xiangxiang away just like that. His plan was ruined. Furthermore, he had just been severely injured by the great emperor's attack. His chances of surviving the next tribulation were even lower. He was furious. He roared in his heart and was extremely unwilling. He wanted to tear Lu Ming into pieces, but he did not dare to enter the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. The great emperor had already given the order. If he stepped in again, the great emperor would definitely kill him. Old dog He Qian, if you don't die, one will personally cut off your dog head in the future. Lu Ming's eyes were fixed on He Qian from afar as his cold voice was heard. Just you? You better stay in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy for the rest of your life and never come out. He Qian said coldly. Old dog, just you wait. This matter isn't over yet. Lu Ming said coldly. Then he moved and left the place. Humph, little bastard, you're far away. He Qian snorted coldly and planned to leave and return to the He family. However, in a flash, the two true emperors from the Heng family blocked He Qian's path. What's the meaning of this? He Gao asked with a cold face. What do you mean? We didn't catch Lu Ming. It's time to return the tribulation transcendence clothes to us. The white-haired true emperor of the Heng clan said coldly. Return it to you? I've already provided you with information about Lu Ming, and you've seen him. The tribulation transcending sage robe is mine. As for whether you've caught Lu Ming or not, it's none of my business. He Xiao's eyes turned as he said slyly. Now that he had lost Xiangxiang and was injured by the great emperor, his chances of success in the next great tribulation were even lower. Right now, the divine robe was his only hope. How could he hand it over to the Heng family? If he handed over the divine clothing, he would definitely not be able to survive the next great tribulation and would die in it. This was a matter of life and death. Chapter 1926. Chapter 1926. The revenge begins. He Qian, you're trying to trick the Heng family's tribulation transcending outfit. Be careful that you won't be able to use it even if you have the life to take it. One of the Heng clan's true emperors shouted, and his powerful aura locked onto Lu Ming. If you can't capture Lu Ming, you have no right to take the Heng family's divine robe for tribulation transcendence. Hand it over. The Hung clan's white-haired true emperor shouted coldly, and the divine light of the world bloomed from his body. If He Qian didn't hand over the divine tribulation-transcending robe, he would attack at any moment. The divine clothing for tribulation transcendence was extremely precious. It could only be encountered by chance and not sought after. Moreover, it was a one-time use. After transcending the heavenly tribulation once, it would be useless the next time. Initially, it was worth it to take down Lu Ming and obtain the Celestial Emperor's sword. However, Lu Ming had not been taken down and the Celestial Thearch's sword had not been obtained. How could they be willing to let it be regarded as a piece of divine clothing for tribulation transcendence for no reason? He Qian's expression was unsightly. He was truly unwilling to hand over the treasure that he had obtained. All right, 111 return it to you. But one provided the information after all, so you should at least compensate me. He Gao said coldly. Compensation? What do you want? The white-haired true emperor of the Hung clan asked. A true emperor weapon. He Qian spoke. A true emperor weapon? The two true emperors of the Hung clan looked at each other and nodded. All right, we agree to your request. The Hung clan's white-haired true emperor said with a nod. Although true emperor weapons were precious, they were still far inferior to the tribulation transcending divine clothes. All right, then I'll give you the divine clothing for tribulation transcendence. He Qian revealed an expression of heartache one. He took out a storage ring and threw it to the Hung clan's white-haired true emperor. The white-haired true emperor of the Hung clan waved his hand and grabbed the storage ring. At this time, He Qian's eyes revealed a ruthless look as he muttered, "Explode!" Boom! The storage ring exploded, and the destructive power sent the white-haired true emperor of the Heng family flying. This way, there was a gap in the encirclement of the two true emperors of the Heng family. Run! He Qian seized the opportunity and flew out like a bolt of lightning, fleeing in the direction of the He clan. Damn it, He Qian, you're looking for death. The Heng family's white-haired true emperor let out a heaven-shaking roar. What can you do to me if I hide in the He family? He Qian sneered, his voice coming from afar. Now, his heavenly tribulation was more important. There were less than 100 years left. At most, he would hide in the He family for the next 100 years. 100 years was just a blink of an eye to him. The He family was as famous as the Heng family. As long as he hid in the He family and didn't come out, the Heng family couldn't do anything to him. He flew toward the He family like a bolt of lightning. He Qian, how dare you covet the Heng family's treasure? Your He family will pay the price. Behind him, the other true emperor from the Heng family roared and chased after He Qian. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. In the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy, a figure flashed and Lu Ming appeared. Lu Ming had seen everything that had happened to the three true emperors earlier. It looks like He Qian tipped the Heng family off and used my information to exchange for the Heng family's treasure. Now they're in a mess. Very well, He family, Heng family, just you wait. It'll make you pay soon. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. He took a step forward and his figure disappeared. In the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy, a new tomb appeared on a mountain peak rich with original qi. Lu Ming, Xiangxiang Bela, Tian Chue, and Xuaningxin were kowtowing in front of the tomb of the Ice Dragon Valley Master. Behind him, the other members of the Dragon Alliance also bowed. After a long time, Lu Ming stood up. He took out a pot of wine and poured it in front of the tomb of the Ice Dragon Valley Master. Then, with a single thought, a figure appeared out of thin air in front of the tomb of the Ice Dragon Valley Master. This person was the one who was brought out of the He family by Lu Ming. He was also a member of He Hao's mansion. Valley Master, today, I will offer the blood of this person from the He family to you. In the future, I will personally take off He Qian's dog head and come to offer it to you. With that, Lu Ming raised his knife and cut off the man's head. Valley Master, it'll make the He and Heng families pay some interest soon. Lu Ming muttered. Then he turned around and left the place. It was useless to be overly sad. Lu Ming would use his actions to make the He family regret. In Lu Ming's residence, he took out the Stone of Chaos and studied it carefully. I've lost the chaotic original qi as expected. What a pity! Lu Ming took a look. He injected his saint energy and chaos laws into it, but there was no reaction. There was no chaos chi in the chaos gem at all. However, a chaos gem was still a chaos gem. Even without chaos chi, it could still be used as the main material to craft monarch weapons. Lu Ming used his holy weapon to attack the Rock of Chaos, but he could not even leave a mark on it. Lu Ming refined it. At a critical moment, it might be used as a defensive treasure to resist the enemy's attack. After that, Lu Ming closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing. 3 days later, Lu Ming was back to his peak state. He then used the divine breath technique to change his appearance and left the Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute. Outside the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy, there were still experts from the Hung family standing guard. When they saw Lu Ming coming out, they scanned him with their spiritual senses but found nothing unusual. Lu Ming swaggered away. Lu Ming had come out for nothing but revenge. He didn't have the power to fight the He and Heng families yet, but he could collect some interest first. Lu Ming's first stop was Vientiane Tower. Firstly, Lu Ming bought all the information about the Heng family and the He family at Vientiane Tower. He even bought the information of some important figures in the two families. Of course, it cost a lot of money. After Lu Ming took away the information of the important figures of the two families, he began to study it in detail. 3 days later, Lu Ming went to Vientiane Tower again to inquire about some people from the Heng family and He family. Drunken Immortal Restaurant, one of the 3 buildings in Heavenly Emperor City, was extremely famous. That was because the beauties in the Drunken Immortal Restaurant were the most famous in the Heavenly Emperor City. Of course, there was also good wine that could make immortals drunk and dream of death. Therefore, this place had become the gathering place for the young geniuses of many forces in Heavenly Emperor City. Not only the young geniuses, but even the older generation would come. He Yutong was one of the top heaven's favorites in the younger generation of the He family. He was placed in an important position in the He family at a young age. Although he did not have a king physique, he was a heaven's favorite second only to the king physique. Now, his cultivation had reached the great saint perfection realm. However, he had been very depressed during this period of time. He was also cultivating in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. However, the supreme talents of the He family didn't have much achievements. They were suppressed in the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. Out of the 4 sets of array discs, the He family didn't get a single one. In the end, they could only choose to join the Divine Fire Alliance. Therefore, he was very unhappy. In his spare time, he would run out of the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy, return to the He clan, or go to the Drunken Immortal Restaurant to relax. In Drunken Immortal Restaurant, there was a mirror-like lake. On the lake, there were sailboats floating, and on the lakeshore, there were many pavilions. He Yutong was lying in a pavilion with 2 beautiful girls. One was massaging his shoulders and the other was lying in his arms. She was soft and fragrant. He closed his eyes and quietly enjoyed it. He Yutong, get out here. At this moment, a loud roar broke the silence. Chapter 1927. Chapter 1927. Intensifying the conflict between the two families, a loud roar broke the silence and He Yutong's mood. Which bastard dares to disturb this young master? He's courting death. He Yutong stood up and stepped out of the pavilion. He looked ahead with cold eyes. In front of him, a middle-aged man stood on the lake with his hands behind his back. Who are you? He Yutong looked at the middle-aged man and narrowed his eyes. He did not know this man. The person who wants your life. The middle-aged man said coldly. Then he dashed toward He Yutong. Saint power surged in his hand and formed a long sword. Like a rainbow light, the long sword stabbed toward He Yutong as fast as lightning. He Yutong was shocked. He exploded with all his power and a saber appeared in his hand. He slashed at the middle-aged man. Clang! The long sword and the saber collided, creating a buzzing sound. He Yutong's body trembled and he was forced to retreat. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Eternal Spring's laws. You're from the Heng family. Why do you want to kill me? He Yutong roared. At this time, the people in the sailboats and other pavilions on the lake had long been alarmed. They looked over in their direction and were all shocked. The laws of eternal spring were unique to the Hung family. Only the bloodline and body constitution of the Hung family could comprehend the laws of eternal spring. The Hung family came to kill He Yutong? The Hung family and the He family were sworn enemies. 1,000 years ago, there had been a fierce battle between them. However, in the last few hundred years, their relationship had eased a lot. Although there were still some conflicts, there were very few people who would kill each other in front of the public for no reason. Now, why did the middle-aged man want to kill He Yutong? He Qian, old dog, you're so shameless. You took away the Hung family's treasure and didn't return it. Then, it'll make your He family disciples pay the price. The middle-aged man said coldly. His aura exploded, and a terrifying sword light cut through the air and slashed toward He Yutong. No, run! He Yutong roared madly. He wanted to escape, but the difference in combat strength between him and his opponent was too great. With a slash of the sword, all his resistance collapsed. His entire body was cut in half, and his corpse fell into the lake. He Qian, old dog, you only have yourself to blame. The middle-aged man left these words and soared into the sky, leaving the place. This middle-aged man was naturally Lu Ming in disguise. Previously, at the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, he had seen He Qian and the two true emperors of the Heng family in conflict. From the words of the other party, Lu Ming speculated that He Qian must have used him as a condition to take the Heng family's treasure. Later on, the Heng family wanted it back, but He Qian did not return it. Back then, the two true emperors of the Heng family had shouted that they wanted the He family to pay the price. Now, Lu Ming was taking advantage of this and attacking the He family members to provoke a conflict between the two sides. As for Lu Ming's chaos laws, other than the kingly laws and the 10 ultimate laws, all the other laws could be changed. The laws of eternal spring were not the laws of the king path. Naturally, Lu Ming could change them. An expert from the Heng family had killed He Yutong, the pride of the He family. The reason was that He Qian of the He family had taken the Hung family's treasure. After Lu Ming left, this piece of news spread at a terrifying speed from the Drunken Immortal restaurant. Not long after, a few old men sat in a hall of the He family. The atmosphere was very serious. Bang! He Qian slammed the table heavily, his eyes full of anger. Preposterous! Is the Hung family going to start a war with our He family? They had already received the news of He Yutong's death and were currently discussing this matter. It's all because of you. You embezzled the Hung family's divine robe for tribulation, which caused such a disaster. He Yutong also died because of you. The other old man said coldly. What do you mean by that? He Qian's eyes were cold as he looked at the person. That person was an existence at the same level as He Qian, so how could he be afraid of He Qian? He sneered and said, It's very clear what I mean. If you didn't take the Hung family's treasure, why would they send people to kill my He family? No matter what, you have to pay the price for this. Hand over the divine robe and it will belong to the family. Of course, the He family was not united. It was divided into various factions. Bullshit, one deserved the divine clothing. If you want it, fight me. Let's see what you can do. He Gao shouted, his powerful aura filling the hall. All right, stop arguing. The most important thing now is how to deal with the Heng family's revenge. The other old man waved his hand and said, At worst, well, just fight the Heng family. He Gao said coldly. It was impossible for him to hand over the divine clothing for tribulation transcendence. The divine clothing was related to whether he could survive the heavenly tribulation or not, and it was more important than anything. At this moment, they received a message at the same time. They took out their jade voice transmission talismans and their expressions changed again. Damn it, the Heng family is too much. Is this an all-out war? The few elders roared. They had just received news that 2 more experts from the He family had been killed by the Heng family. If it could be tolerated, then who couldn't? The Heng family was obviously going to take revenge. If they delayed any longer, who knew how many people would be killed? Let's go to the Heng family. I'd like to see if they want to start a full-scale war. An old man sitting at the head of the table said coldly before walking out. The other elders, including He Qian, also followed. They left the hall and headed straight for the Heng family. In a hall of the Heng family, some elders were discussing some matters. Who sent people to kill the He family? Someone asked. We didn't do that. Although He Qian was despicable and took the divine clothing for himself, we were still thinking of a way and didn't send anyone to kill the He family members. The white-haired true emperor who had given the tribulation-transcending divine robe to He Qian said with a frown. The others also looked at each other. They didn't send anyone, so who was it that killed the He family? Could it be a private act of the Heng family's descendants? The people of the He clan are despicable and shameless. In my opinion, we should just kill them. The other true emperor said coldly. 1,000 years ago, the He clan and the Heng clan had an intense war. These emperor-level figures had all fought with the He clan back then and had great enmity with them. So what if they killed a few people of the He clan? Boom, boom. At this moment, a terrifying fluctuation came from outside the Heng family. Many powerful auras filled the air. It seems like the people from the He family have come. He Qian took our divine clothing for tribulation transcendence, and the people of the He clan still dare to come here. Make them hand over the divine clothing. The elders snorted and rushed out of the hall. Outside the Heng family, He Qian and the other experts of the He family stood in the sky. Terrifying auras emanated from their bodies as they pressed down on the Heng family's palace. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. In the Heng family, many experts appeared in a flash. In the end, a few elders from the Heng family flew over. Each of them exuded a vast aura that negated the aura of the He family's powerhouses. He Qian, you still dare to come? Hand over the divine clothing. The Heng clan's white-haired true emperor stared at He Qian, and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Chapter 1928. Chapter 1928. War between two races. Chapter 1928. Chapter 1928. War between two races. Your Heng family still wants my tribulation-transcending outfit? In your dreams, you secretly sent people to kill my He family members. How do you explain this? He Qian shouted. We didn't send anyone to kill the people of the He family. An expert from the Heng clan spoke. Bullshit. You used the laws of eternal spring to kill the people of the He family. Do you think we're blind? An expert of the He clan shouted. What a joke. He Qian took my tribulation-transcending clothes, and we didn't even go to his house. Your He family only lost a few useless pieces of trash, and you came to my Heng family. Do you want to start a war? An expert from the Heng clan coldly spoke. The He clan and the Heng clan had always been mortal enemies. Although they had eased up a little in recent years, these martial emperor powerhouses had lived for a long time and had fought with each other countless times. Their enmity was not that easy to resolve. Every time they met, it was always with swords drawn and bows bent. Good, very good. You killed members of the He family. Do you think we're easy to bully? Unless you don't go out in the future, hee. He Qian sneered. In other words, if the Heng family could kill the He family could also kill the Heng family. He Qian, then he'll kill you first. The white-haired true emperor from the Heng clan had a very strong killing intent. He Qian had taken one of their divine tribulation-transcending clothes, so he wanted to kill He Qian immediately and take it back. At this moment, a figure flew over at high speed and arrived beside the Heng family expert. True emperor, it's not good. The He family has been secretly hunting the experts of my Heng family. 2 great saints and 1 absolute saint have been killed by the He family. The man reported. What? You should die. When the Heng family's true emperor expert heard this, he was instantly enraged. On the surface, the He family had come to denounce their crimes, but they had secretly sent people to kill the Heng family members. They were despicable and shameless. Nonsense. We didn't send anyone to kill your Heng family. An old man from the He family said with a frown. You're obviously using the law of the 4 seasons, yet you dare to say that you're not a member of the He family. The person who came to report the news shouted. The He family inherited the law of the 4 seasons, which was similar to the eternal spring law of the Heng family. In the distant past, the He family was even known as the descendants of the celestial emperor, which was why they were mortal enemies with the Heng family. Damn it, You took the Hung family's divine tribulation robe and now you're sending people to kill my Heng family members. Today, all of you can stay. One of the Hung clan's true emperors was furious. He activated his world energy and a terrifying sword light shot towards the He clan's true emperor. If you want to start a war, don't think that the He family will be afraid of you. The true emperor of the He clan was also furious and launched a counterattack. Do it. The other experts of the Heng family also made their moves. Terrifying sword lights burst out and attacked the experts of the He family. However, the He clan's experts were all at the true emperor level, so they also launched their counterattacks. The entire area was blown up. The terrifying force was rampant. The entire heavenly emperor city seemed to be shaking. The chaotic battle of true emperors was too terrifying. Countless people were alarmed and flew up to watch. Heavens, a battle between true emperors. That's the experts of the Heng and He families. Are the two families going to have another war after 1,000 years? In the distance, many people watched in fear. In the distant sky, Lu Ming transformed into a dark-skinned young man and watched from afar. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. In fact, his plan wasn't very brilliant. He used the chaos laws to split up the Heng family and the He family and kill the other side's people to trigger a conflict between the two sides. As long as the two families calmed down and discussed this plan, it would not be difficult for them to see through it. They might even suspect Lu Ming. However, the enmity between the two families was deep to begin with. It was like gunpowder that would ignite at the slightest spark. Moreover, there was also He Qian's matter, so it was impossible for the two families to sit down and get along. After a few words, they really started fighting. Boom, boom. Terrifying sword and saber lights filled the entire sky. The space cracked open, revealing a terrifying pitch-black space. However, this was the Heng family. As soon as they started, powerful auras were released in the Heng family. Some terrifying experts woke up from their seclusion and joined the battle. The He family's true emperor expert was instantly at a disadvantage. Rush out and return to the He family. A true emperor from the He clan roared. There were 5 true emperors from the He clan who came. The 5 of them joined forces and attacked madly. However, there were more and more true emperors from the Heng family. They were at a complete disadvantage and couldn't charge out at all. Attack the rest of the Heng family. He Qian's eyes revealed a malevolent look as he slashed out a blade light. It wasn't aimed at the other true emperors, but at the Heng family's palaces and those below the true emperor realm. Not good, despicable. The Heng clan's true emperors roared in anger. 2 of them rushed out to help, but it was too late. He Qian's blade light was hundreds of miles long. As it fell, countless Heng family members were turned into ashes. A hundreds of miles long crack appeared in the palace of the Heng family and continued to extend forward. He Shao, you're looking for death. The Heng clan's true emperors were enraged, and some of them charged towards He Qian. However, He Qian's face was filled with ferocity as he slashed at the other members of the Heng family. The few true emperors had no choice but to block He Qian's saber light. Normally, when true emperors fought, they wouldn't attack the weak. However, He Qian's great tribulation was approaching. This time, he did not have much confidence, so he acted extremely crazily and did not follow any rules. When the Heng clan's true emperors went to rescue the others, an opening appeared in the encirclement. He Qian and the other 5 true emperors from the He clan broke out of the encirclement and rushed towards the He clan. He family, you must pay with your blood. The Heng family's true emperor let out an angry roar. In the distance, Lu Ming sneered. His figure flashed and he headed towards the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Next, he didn't need to do anything. He just had to watch. A war would definitely break out between the Heng family and the He family. Not long after Lu Ming returned to the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy, in the Heavenly Emperor Alliance, Xing Chen wielded his combat sword and charged towards the Divine Fire Alliance. In the Divine Fire Alliance, he killed the He family's #1 prodigy, a powerful king body. This matter shook the entire Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. The He clan elite was in the top 10 of the Saint King ranking. He was terrifyingly talented and was the second in command of the Divine Fire Alliance. However, he had been killed just like that. No one in the Divine Fire Alliance dared to stop the Eternal Star River. After hearing this news, the He family was in an uproar. He was the #1 heaven's favorite of the He family, with a powerful king body and unparalleled talent. He was regarded as the future hope of the He family and a figure who had the potential to break through to the great sovereign realm. But now, he was killed by the Star River just like that. Start the battle. An angry voice came from the He family. Start the battle. It was the same in the Hung family. On this day, the Hung clan and the He clan both sent out terrifying experts. They met in the central area of the two clans. There was nothing to say, and a terrifying battle immediately broke out between the two clans. Chapter 1929. Heavenly Emperor Mountain, Battle Between Great Emperors. Chapter 1929. Heavenly Emperor Mountain, Battle Between Great Emperors. The He clan and the Hung clan each sent out thousands of experts, and a terrifying battle broke out in the area between the two clans. This battle had shocked the entire Heavenly Emperor city. This battle was extremely brutal. The sun and the moon had lost their light. The area around the Heavenly Emperor city had been razed to the ground. That battle lasted for an entire day. In the end, both sides suffered heavy losses before they retreated. It was said that many experts from both sides had died in this battle. Even more than 10 martial emperors and even true emperors had fallen. In the Heavenly Emperor city, the atmosphere was extremely oppressive. This was because everyone knew that the war between the two clans would not end just like that. On the contrary, it was only the beginning. Sure enough, after this battle, the two families were at war. Both sides sent people to attack each other's businesses. Both sides were constantly fighting and experts were constantly being killed. The enmity between the two sides had reached an irreconcilable point. The battle was getting more and more intense, and even true emperors would often kill each other. Every day there would be experts dying. This intense battle lasted for 3 months, and countless experts from the Heng and He families had died. However, this did not stop the two parties. Instead, their hatred grew even more intense. On this day, a piece of news shook the entire Heavenly Emperor city, and even the entire Yuan Mountain's Sacred Institute. The Hung clan's great emperor had challenged the He clan's great emperor. Half a month later, they would fight to the death at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. The battle between great emperors shocked the world. Countless people were dumbfounded and shocked. He didn't expect that the confrontation between the two families would eventually lead to a battle between great emperors. Heavenly Emperor City was the #1 holy land among the 9 holy lands in Mount Yuan. It was the most powerful. As one of the most powerful forces in Heavenly Emperor City, the Hung family and the He family both had great emperors. In half a month, the great emperors of the two clans would fight at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. When Lu Ming heard this news, he was somewhat dumbfounded. He did not expect that things would develop to this stage. However, this was exactly what Lu Ming wanted. Wasn't his original intention to let the He family and the Heng family fight each other? He would use the blood of the Heng and He families to pay tribute to the Valley Master of Ice Dragon Valley. It would be even more perfect if a great emperor died. Lu Ming sneered. A battle between great sovereigns was a rare sight. This incident had alarmed most of the powerful forces in the Yuan Mountain. In the past half a month, many experts had come to the Heavenly Emperor City, wanting to see the great sovereigns. Time flew by, and half a month passed in a flash. On this day, countless people gathered at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Normally, when great emperors fought, no one would dare to get close to watch. Great sovereigns were too powerful. Even a wisp of their chi would be disastrous. They would definitely die. Even ordinary martial sovereigns would not be able to survive. However, it would be different at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Legend had it that the Heavenly Emperor Mountain was the place where the Heavenly Emperor had cultivated and verified his Tao. On it, the Heavenly Emperor's Qi engine filled the air. Ordinary people would not be able to climb up the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Even for martial emperor powerhouses, their cultivation would be greatly suppressed when they ascended the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. It was said that even true emperor powerhouses could not fly when they entered the heavenly Emperor Mountains range. Only the great emperor powerhouses could fly when they entered the heavenly Emperor Mountain. However, they would be greatly suppressed. The fluctuations from the battle would also be suppressed and would not cause any disastrous consequences. On this morning, the sky surrounding the heavenly Emperor Mountain was filled with countless figures. There were countless people of all cultivation levels. There were Martial Royal Realm, Saint Realm, Martial Emperor Realm, and even true Emperor Realm experts. A battle between great emperors was a rare sight. It might be of help to a true emperor. Under the lead of a few true emperor-level teachers from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, the geniuses of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy also came to the void far away from the heavenly Emperor Mountain. They looked on from afar. Lu Ming and the others were among them. Sila! Sila! At this moment, the void not far away from the heavenly Emperor Mountains suddenly cracked. From two openings, a figure stepped out. Two figures were completely shrouded in endless light. Their faces could not be seen clearly, but they had a strong and boundless aura that spread in all directions. Although they were very far away, at this moment, countless people felt as if a divine mountain was pressing down on their bodies. This kind of pressure was like facing the heavenly Tao, and they were unable to resist. Two great emperors. The great emperors of the He and Heng clans had arrived. The two great emperors looked at each other from a distance and exploded with an even more shocking aura. This time, 111 kill you. A voice was heard. This voice was cold and full of arrogance, like a god looking down on all living beings. Lu Ming had heard this voice before. It was the great emperor of the Heng family. Back then, it had sounded at the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, and he had even fought with Emperor Notionless. You're the one who's going to die. The other figure was clearly the great emperor of the He family. His voice was deep and filled with endless dominance. Buzz! Buzz! Next, the two figures moved at the same time and flew towards the top of the heavenly Emperor Mountain. In the beginning, their speed was so astonishing that many people could not see them clearly. However, as soon as the two of them entered the heavenly Emperor Mountain, they seemed to have felt a terrifying pressure. Their speed had drastically slowed down. The closer they got to the peak of the heavenly Emperor Mountain, the slower their speed became. In the end, the light on the two figures disappeared, and their bodies were revealed to everyone. The emperor of the Heng family was an old man with gloomy eyes. The great emperor of the He family, on the other hand, looked like a middle-aged brawny man with a burly figure and unparalleled dominance. Of course, one couldn't judge a person's age by their appearance. The two great emperors of the Heng and He families had lived for countless years. Both of them landed on the peak of the heavenly Emperor Mountain and faced each other. Then, both of them suddenly rushed to each other and struck out their palms at the same time. Thump! With a muffled boom, the entire heavenly Emperor Mountain seemed to be shaking. As for Lu Ming and the rest, even though they were very far away, they could feel the intense fluctuations in the space. So terrifying. Is this the strength of a great emperor? This is the heavenly Emperor Mountain, yet it can cause such a shocking shock. An ordinary void emperor at the peak of the heavenly Emperor Mountain could barely contend with them. They could not fight with them at all. Indeed, the strength of the great emperor realm is not a small matter. Some people were discussing. After the exchange of blows, the great emperors from the Heng clan and the He clan both retreated slightly before launching another attack at each other. The two of them clashed again, creating a shocking shockwave. If this was outside, the world would probably be turned upside down. After that, the two of them continued to fight, but it was very normal. It was like two low-level martial artists fighting, one move after another, and the speed was not particularly fast. This made many people look at each other. Were great emperors always so ordinary? Lu Ming, Qiu Yu, and the rest were also at a loss. They could not see what was so brilliant about it. However, the few true emperor teachers from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy all had a serious expression on their faces as they stared intently. Chapter 1930. The Blood of a Great Sovereign, Changes in Mount Emperor. Chapter 1930. The Blood of a Great Sovereign, Changes in Mount Emperor don't underestimate this kind of fight. It's the most dangerous kind of fight. Every move is a collision between the great Tao and the power of the world. It's extremely terrifying. One mistake and you'll die. The voice of a teacher from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy rang out as he explained to the disciples. A great emperor expert controls the great Tao of heaven and earth. With every move, the great Tao will be added to the body and the power of the world will follow closely. This is the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. If it was in the outside world, a casual attack would be able to turn the world upside down and have the power to destroy the world. The teacher continued to explain while everyone observed carefully. Unfortunately, their cultivation was too low. They hadn't reached the Great Emperor realm yet, so it was difficult for them to understand the mysteries of the Great Emperor realm. They could only watch the show. Boom, boom. On the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, the speed of the two people's fight became faster and faster. Their expressions also became more and more serious. Each time they exchanged blows, a terrifying vibration would burst out. The Heavenly Emperor Mountain would tremble slightly and the space would shake violently. On the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, a layer of hazy halo spread out. It was extremely mysterious and locked most of the force inside. Soon, the two great emperors exchanged 100 moves and were evenly matched. Then they both took out their weapons. The Hung clan's great emperor used a sword while the He clan's great emperor used a saber. Without a doubt, they were both terrifying monarch weapons. The two continued to fight. However, the two of them had similar cultivation and combat power. After many moves, they were still unable to determine the winner. Just as the two of them were engaged in an intense battle, a figure suddenly appeared at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Everyone was shocked. Yes, at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, there had only been two great emperors fighting. How could there be an extra figure? Clearly, this figure did not appear out of thin air. Instead, he had hidden on the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. As soon as this figure appeared, he launched an attack at the great emperor of the He family. His attack was extremely violent and was no weaker than the two great emperors. It was obvious that he was also a great emperor. Everyone was shocked. How could a great emperor suddenly appear at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain? You are so despicable. The great emperor of the He clan roared. Many people were shocked. There was only one emperor surnamed Luo in the Yuan Mountain Holy Land, and that was the ancient Sun Holy Land's Daluo Heaven Sect's emperor. Lu Ming's eyes were shining. This emperor who had suddenly appeared was probably the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven Sect, the grandfather of Luo Zongqiong. Apparently, the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven Sect had been hiding at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain for a long time. They were waiting for the opportunity to join hands with the great emperor of the Hung family to kill the great emperor of the He family. I told you, the one who will die today is you. The Hung clan's great emperor coldly spoke as his battle sword continued to slash towards the He clan's great emperor. Facing two experts of the same level, the great emperor of the He clan was no match for them and was immediately at a disadvantage. Not good. Hung family, you're despicable. The people of the He family roared in anger. Their faces were extremely ugly and they were extremely worried. If the great sovereign of the He family were to die, it would be a disaster for the He family. Without a great emperor, they couldn't fight against the Heng family at all and would be destroyed by the Heng family. The He family, which had been passed down for countless years, would be annihilated. All's fair in war, you don't even know this. The experts of the Heng family sneered. They were ecstatic. They hoped that their great emperor could kill the great emperor of the He family. Then, their Heng family would become even more powerful. Everyone was looking at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain nervously. If a great emperor had truly fallen, it would involve a lot of people. It would change the situation of the Heavenly Emperor City. The great emperor of the He clan tried his best to resist, but he was no match for the two great emperors. Not long after, the He family's great emperor was hit by the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven Sect. His body shook, his face flushed, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Buzz! The battle sword of the Hung clan's great emperor slashed over, but the He clan's great emperor dodged it by a hair's breadth. Kill! The Hung clan's great emperor let out a long roar, and his sword technique became faster and faster. The injured great emperor of the He clan found it harder and harder to dodge. After a few more moves, the He clan's great emperor finally couldn't dodge and was slashed in the chest by the Heng clan's great emperor. A long sword wound appeared and his entire body was almost cut in half. The great emperor's blood splattered everywhere and scattered on the peak of the heavenly emperor mountain. The great emperor of the He family roared and wanted to retreat, but his retreat was blocked by the Daluo heaven sect. He roared, he was unwilling. If they were not at the heavenly emperor mountain, everything of theirs would have been suppressed. If they were outside the heavenly emperor mountain, even if the two great sovereigns joined hands, they might not be able to stop him. With his strength, he would have no worries in escaping. However, this was the heavenly emperor mountain, it would be different. He understood that he had fallen into a trap. Going to the heavenly emperor mountain to fight with the great emperor of the Hung clan was clearly the other party's scheme. Great emperor! The people of the He clan cried out in sorrow, their hearts trembling with fear. Could it be that the great emperor of the He clan was really going to fall here today? The Heng family members were ecstatic. But at this moment, a change suddenly occurred. Buzz! Suddenly, the heavenly emperor mountain started to shake violently. Endless brilliant radiance spread out. Boom! Boom! Next, a shocking explosion sound emerged from the heavenly emperor mountain and shattered rocks flew everywhere. What's going on? Many people's expression changed drastically. Why did such a shocking change suddenly appear at the heavenly emperor mountain? Such a thing had never happened before. It's the blood of the great sovereign. The blood of the great sovereign has been absorbed by the heavenly emperor mountain. Some of the true emperor realm cultivators shouted. Their eyes were sharp and their spiritual senses were sharp. Even from far away, they could still notice this. Everyone's heart trembled. It was actually because of the great emperor's blood. However, why would the blood of the great emperor cause such a change to the heavenly emperor mountain? Boom! 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 At this moment, 3 extremely terrifying auras spread out from the heaven and earth mountain. It was the aura of 3 great emperors. Previously, the chi of the great emperor had been completely suppressed by the heavenly emperor mountain. Now, the heavenly emperor mountain seemed to have lost its suppressing effect. Get lost! The great emperor of the He clan let out a long howl as a terrifying and boundless power erupted. With a slash of his blade, the vast sky was split open and a spatial crack of unknown length appeared in the sky. The great emperor of the He clan transformed into a blade light and charged into the spatial crack. Don't even think about leaving. The great emperors from the Heng family and the Daluo heaven sect chased after the great emperor from the He family and rushed into the spatial crack. And NBSP, the void in the spatial rift, immediately exploded with terrifying ripples. Boom! 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 The heavenly emperor mountain continued to shake. The radiance grew brighter and brighter. Finally, the radiance condensed into a figure. This figure was dressed in a white robe. He looked very young, like a young man in his 30s. He was tall, handsome, and had the aura to swallow the world. He just stood there as if he was the only one in the world. Heavens! Celestial Emperor? Could this be the Celestial Emperor? Many people's voices trembled. Selah! The spatial crack appeared again and the figure of the Hung clan's great emperor appeared. His face was somewhat gloomy as he also looked at the heavenly emperor apparition in the sky above the heavenly emperor mountain with a surprised expression. Then, the great emperor of the Daluo heaven sect also appeared beside him. Selah! In the distance, spatial fluctuations could be felt as the great emperor of the He family appeared. Chapter 1931. The Celestial Thearch's Figure. Chapter 1931. The Celestial Thearch's Figure. The appearance of the 3 great emperors meant that the great emperors from the Heng family and the Daluo heaven sect couldn't do anything to the great emperor from the He family. Once they lost the suppression of the heavenly emperor mountain, in the outside world, it would be difficult for 2 great emperors of the same level to kill the other one unless the difference in strength was too great. Seeing that the great emperor of the He clan was fine, everyone in the He clan let out a long sigh of relief. The three great emperors all looked at the shadow in the sky. "Heavenly Emperor's projection," said the emperor of the Han clan. His expression was grave, but he was also filled with anticipation. At this moment, the space above Lu Ming and the others fluctuated and a figure appeared out of thin air. Lu Ming and the others were shocked. This person was Emperor Wu Xiang of the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. The teachers and students of the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy were just about to bow when Emperor Wu Xiang waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to bow. At this moment, the figure in the sky was becoming more and more corporeal, and everyone was shocked. Could it be that the celestial the arch was about to be resurrected? Or was this just a mark left by the heavenly emperor when he was in seclusion? Everyone guessed that today's matter had exceeded their expectations. Buzz. Just as the heavenly emperor apparition had condensed to the extreme, his figure suddenly flew towards the heavenly emperor mountain. He entered the mountain and disappeared. Boom. In the next moment, with a shocking boom, the entire heavenly emperor mountain exploded. The majestic heavenly emperor mountain exploded. Then, a light beam shot out from below the heavenly emperor mountain and pierced through the sky. "That is a flower," someone exclaimed. At the foot of the heavenly emperor mountain, a beam of light shot into the sky. Between the light beam, a flower emerged. This flower did not look like it had bloomed yet. It was only in the shape of a bud and looked like a lotus. Everyone was shocked. What was going on? This flower is just an illusion, not a real entity. Look, there's a cave down there. It keeps going down. The strange movements at the heavenly emperor mountain had caused a clamor in all directions. Lu Ming fixed his eyes on it. Indeed, the flower in the sky was not a real entity. It was more like a projection. Originally, there was a cave under the heavenly emperor mountain. That light pillar had shot out from this cave. Could it be that there was some treasure in that cave? The heavenly emperor mountain had always been suppressing this treasure? At the thought of this, many people's eyes burned with passion. If it was a treasure, even the celestial the arch would value it. Even the emperor couldn't remain calm. In a flash, the great emperors of the Heng family, the Daluo heaven sect, the He family, and the formless emperor appeared in the sky above the cave at the same time. The great emperor of the Hung clan glanced at the great emperor of the He clan coldly but didn't say anything. The heavenly emperor mountain had exploded. Without the suppression of the heavenly emperor mountain, he knew that he could not kill the great emperor of the He clan. The four great emperors looked down at the cave below, and their faces were filled with shock. The others couldn't help but feel an itch in their hearts. Even the great emperor revealed a surprised expression. What exactly was at the bottom of the cave? Everyone wanted to go and take a look personally, but the great emperor was there, so no one dared to go. If they angered the emperor, only death awaited them. This is the world left behind by the celestial emperor. It should belong to my Heng family. Please leave. The Hung clan's gaze swept across the great emperors of the He clan and Emperor Formless. What a joke. We don't even know if this was left behind by the heavenly emperor. Even if it was left behind by the heavenly emperor, what does it have to do with your Heng family? Don't say that you're a descendant of the celestial emperor. The great emperor of the He clan sneered. What's the meaning of this? Emperor Heng's eyes were cold. It's simple. The Heng family can't take over this place. The great emperor of the He clan said coldly. He then turned to Emperor Formless. Wu Xiang, what do you think? The heavenly emperor has been dead for countless years. So many years have passed, and nothing can be explained clearly. Therefore, the things left behind by the heavenly emperor should only be known to those who are fated. Emperor Formless said. What he meant was simple. The heavenly emperor had fallen for so many years, so who could say for sure if the Hung family was the descendant of the heavenly emperor? After so long, the treasures of the celestial the arch should be known to those who were fated. The emperor from the Heng family had an unsightly expression on his face, but even with the help of the Daluo heaven sect's emperor, he couldn't do anything to the two emperors. What's more, the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy was established by three great emperors. Now that the other great emperor had yet to appear, this made him very afraid. Then I'll have to rely on my own abilities. The emperor of the Heng family said coldly. Then he suddenly rushed down into the cave. The great emperors of the Daluo heaven sect, the great emperors of the He family, and the great emperors of the formless heaven sect all rushed down into the cave at the same time and disappeared. The others looked at each other, but they didn't dare to follow the four great emperors. They could only wait with their eyes wide open. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, a violent roar came from the underground cave. There seemed to be endless gales blowing over there. The light pillar that rushed out was even more dazzling. Then, the four figures rushed out of the cave. No, they didn't seem to have rushed out by themselves. They seemed to have been blown out by the wind. Everyone was shocked. What was in the cave that could blow out great emperors? And there were four of them? This was too terrifying. The four emperors stood in the sky with dark expressions. After a while, the emperor of the Heng clan seemed to be unwilling to give up and rushed down again. However, he was still blasted out after a while. You, go down and take a look. The great emperor of the Heng family pointed at a true emperor expert of the Heng family. You, go together. The great emperor of the He clan looked at one of the true emperors of the He clan, Emperor Formless, and called out to another true emperor expert of the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. The three true emperors flew forward and charged into the cave. However, not long after, the three true emperor experts were blasted out by a force just like the four great emperors from before. Following that, a few great emperors called for the void emperor of the small emperor throne, but they were still blasted out. Then he called a few more emperors to go down. But this time, they weren't blasted out. Instead, they blocked the power from below. It seemed that the power in the cave would change according to the cultivation of the person who went down. The stronger one's cultivation was, the stronger the power in the cave would be. What is in the cave? Why do the great emperors value him so much? Many people couldn't help but wonder. Your Majesty, there seems to be a force down there blocking us. We can't get in. The elders said. An emperor-to-be from the Heng clan reported to the great emperor. Everyone perked up their ears to listen. This lotus flower has 9 petals, and each petal represents a world. The lotus flower hasn't bloomed yet, so it's not time to enter. Emperor Formless spoke. He didn't hide anything, and his voice traveled far and wide. Everyone's heart trembled. Could it be that there was a small world beneath the cave? Gather all the powerhouses below the martial supreme realm in the Heng clan. Emperor Hing gave the order and then left. Chapter 1932. Chapter 1932. The Lotus World. The great emperor of the Heng clan gave the order to gather all the powerhouses below the martial emperor realm in the Heng clan and left. After that, the He clan's great emperor also gave the same order to gather all the powerhouses below the martial emperor realm in the He clan. Then he also left the place. Then, Emperor Notionless and the great emperor of the Daluo heaven sect left. Let's go and take a look. As soon as the great emperor left, the others could no longer suppress their curiosity and rushed to the sky above the cave. For a moment, the sky was filled with countless figures. Lu Ming and the rest followed the crowd and flew to the sky to look down. Lu Ming and the rest were shocked when they saw it. On the ground, there was a very large cave. No one knew how deep it was. In the cave, there was a bright light spreading out. In the deepest part of the cave, there was a lotus flower. This lotus flower was still in its bud state and had not bloomed. Upon closer inspection, one could see that it had 9 petals. It was obvious that the lotus in the sky was a projection of this lotus. Everyone couldn't help but think of Emperor Notionless' words. The lotus had 9 petals, representing 9 worlds. The lotus had not bloomed yet, so he could not enter for the time being. Did the 9 petals of that lotus flower represent 9 worlds? Was this the world left behind by the celestial emperor? Everyone's imagination ran wild. However, they soon realized that only those below the martial supreme realm could enter. I don't believe it. There were void emperor and even true emperor experts who flew down into the cave. However, when they entered the cave, a terrifying energy seemed to have been produced inside the cave. All these emperor-level experts were blown out without exception. Only the powerhouses below the martial supreme realm could stabilize their bodies. However, they were also blocked by a powerful force when they approached the lotus. Countless people went down to test it out, but the result was the same. Everyone knew that they still had to wait. They had to wait for the moment the lotus bloomed. Lu Ming and the rest did not go down to test the waters. The great emperor had said that there was no need for them to go down. They just had to wait patiently. After that, they followed the teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy and returned to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Following that, the news of this place spread to the entire Yuan Mountain at a terrifying speed. It was very likely that the Celestial the Arch had left behind some ruins that had shocked countless people. One after another, powerful forces descended upon Heavenly Emperor City. The forces of the other 8 sacred lands and some ancient clans had also sent their experts over. Ancient Moon Holy Land, Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, One Family, Sirius Tower, Golden Crow Clan, etc. All had experts coming, and they were all led by true emperors. They brought many experts below Martial Emperor, and most of them were emperor-to-be. This was very likely a relic left behind by the Celestial Emperor, and everyone wanted a share of it. If an emperor-level expert couldn't go down, the best choice would be an emperor-to-be. As time passed, more and more powerful martial artists arrived at Heavenly Emperor City. As time passed, the lotus flowers slowly bloomed. A month later, when the lotus was about to fully bloom, countless people gathered in the area. At a glance, it was unknown how many people there were. Most of them were at the Absolute Saint Realm and Emperor-to-be realm. "Get lost, let's go!" A loud shout rang out as a group of experts exploded forth with a terrifying aura. The crowd couldn't help but make way for them. They were from the Heng clan. The Heng clan had sent over 100 people, and the leaders were a few true emperor experts. Although the Heng family was overbearing, many people did not dare to voice their anger. The Heng family was a great emperor's force. With a great emperor in charge, which force would dare to provoke them? The Heng family is really overbearing. A cold voice rang out. Following that, the people of the He clan also arrived. They said that the Heng clan was overbearing, but they weren't any different. The true emperor opened up a path, and the crowd forcefully opened up a path for him. The Heng family and the He family were at daggers drawn. Then, the powerhouses of the Daluo Heaven sect also arrived, followed by several powerful ancient clans. The teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy had also arrived with a group of young geniuses. Sela! Hiss! Suddenly, the space near the cave was torn open. A few figures appeared, exuding a terrifying aura. It was the aura of a great emperor. Everyone couldn't help but step back. The emperors all looked at the lotus below. Half a day later, the lotus flower was finally in full bloom. "Go down," the emperor from the Heng family said. The Heng family's powerhouses immediately rushed down the cave. Of course, they were all below the martial emperor realm. Most of them were emperor-to-be and absolute saints. Then the powerhouses of the He family and the Daluo Heaven sect also rushed into the cave. Lu Ming saw Luo Tsangqiong and Luo Pokong among the powerhouses of the Daluo Heaven sect. "Let's charge too!" The people from the other forces shouted one after another. Then, they gathered together and rushed into the cave. The emperors didn't stop them, and they all entered the cave. "You guys go too!" The teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy looked at Lu Ming and the rest. In fact, there weren't many Heaven's favorites following the teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. The majority of the major powers had arrived. Those geniuses all returned to their respective powers and followed them into the caves. Only a few people remained in the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Lu Ming and the rest nodded and then rushed toward the cave. The cave was huge, and even though countless people were flying down, it did not seem crowded. Lu Ming and the rest looked down and realized that when many people approached the lotus, their bodies would shrink rapidly. Then, they would rush toward one of the petals and disappear among the petals. It seemed to be random. You couldn't go to any petal you wanted to. You would enter a random petal. Many people from the major forces flew over and entered the different flower petals. All of a sudden, Lu Ming felt that danger was approaching. Buzz! A terrifying golden light shot toward Lu Ming from his right. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and he threw a punch to the right. Boom. With a loud boom, the golden light was destroyed. Then, Lu Ming saw a group of people in golden robes staring at him coldly. It's an expert from the Golden Crow clan. On the side, Huang Ling spoke. The Golden Crow race. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with killing intent. These people were obviously the absolute saints of the Golden Crow race, and even emperor-to-be experts. The person who had ambushed Lu Ming was an absolute saint in the Great Circle. An expert from the Golden Crow clan actually launched a sneak attack on a junior. If you want to fight, let's fight. An old man beside Huang Ling said coldly. This old man was an expert from the Phoenix Palace. The Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant Sect had sent their experts here, following Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, you killed the crown prince of the Golden Crow clan. We must settle this score. One hope you don't run into us when you enter the world left behind by the Celestial the Arch. An expert from the Golden Crow race coldly said. I hope hell always be so lucky. Another cold voice rang out. It did not come from the Golden Crow race, but another force. The WN family. There were also experts from the Skywolf Tower and other forces nearby. They all looked at Lu Ming coldly, full of murderous intent. Chapter 1933. Chapter 1933. The first battle in the Lotus World. I'll kill every single one of you I see. Lu Ming said coldly, his gaze sweeping across the experts of the Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, and the Sirius Tower. Then well, wait and see who will die. One of the experts from the Golden Crow race said coldly. After that, the group of people increased their speed and rushed down. The other forces did the same. They rushed down and entered different flower petals. However, Lu Ming noticed one thing. No one had entered one of the 9 petals. It seemed that only 8 petals could enter. Very soon, Lu Ming and the rest were approaching the lotus. When they approached the lotus, a powerful force acted on their bodies. This force was a kind of attraction force. It was extremely powerful and difficult to resist. Their bodies were pulled toward different petals. Qiu Yu, Luo Tianyi, Huang Ling, Desolate Power, and the rest separated from Lu Ming and entered different petals. Buzz. As for Lu Ming, he was falling towards one of the petals. Brother Lu Ming, I want to go with you, Chirpy. Bubble's voice was heard. Initially, she was flying toward another petal. However, Bubble cast the space-time law and broke free from the confinement of gravity. She rushed to Lu Ming's side and entered the petal with him. Lu Ming felt his head spinning. The next moment, he appeared in a dense forest. Bubble, it's gone. Lu Ming swept his gaze and realized that Bubbles was not by his side. Lu Ming guessed that he would randomly appear in different places when he entered the world of flower petals. What is this place? Let's take a look in the air. Lu Ming pondered, his figure soared into the sky and flew high. Lu Ming was stunned when he flew high up in the sky. He noticed that there were many figures in the sky. Clearly, they were all like him, people who had entered this place from the outside. It's an island. Then, Lu Ming looked down. Standing at an altitude of tens of thousands of meters, one could clearly see that below them was an island. Outside the island was the vast and endless sea. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. At this moment, a few figures flashed and surrounded Lu Ming. A powerful and terrifying aura enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be in the same territory as us. Today is the day you die. One of them laughed out loud, his killing intent extremely strong. This man was an expert from the Golden Crow race, an emperor-to-be. On the side, the other people were not from the Golden Crow race. From their auras, they were from the Sirius Tower, the Wan family, and the Purple Extreme Sect. There were 5 people in total. 2 were at the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm, 2 were in the Great Circle of the Absolute Saint Realm, and 1 was an emperor-to-be. A few elders are actually dealing with a young man. Interesting. It is indeed very interesting. All around, the others cast sidelong glances at Lu Ming. However, no one recognized Lu Ming. The people who entered this time were absolute saints and emperor-to-be from various forces. They came from different holy lands and forces. Very few of them had seen Lu Ming before, so naturally, none of them had seen him before. A young man has also entered this place. He's overestimating himself, an old man said while stroking his long beard. He was an emperor-to-be. This time, almost all the people who entered the Lotus world were absolute saints, and there were many emperors-to-be among them. If a young man wanted to come in and fight for the treasure, he must be overestimating himself. Very good. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the room as he spoke indifferently. Very good. The Golden Crow clan's expert was stunned. You've come to die, very good. Lu Ming added. We're here to die. Young man, you really don't know how to be modest. Let's see how you're going to kill me. An expert from the Wan clan laughed. He was an absolute saint in the Great Circle, and his acupoints lit up one after another. Saint weapons flew out continuously, and terrifying battle weapon chi gathered and blasted out. You're not that good at the 10,000 soldier scroll, are you? Lu Ming said coldly. An absolute saint weapon, a sword, appeared in his hand. With a slash, the chi of the Wan family's combat weapon was destroyed. The sword light did not stop as it continued to slash down. The WN family's expert did not even have the strength to fight back. He was directly split in half by Lu Ming's sword and died here. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the saint weapons and storage rings of the Wan family's experts. How is that possible? The others were shocked and their eyes widened. An absolute saint in the Great Circle was actually lulled by Lu Ming with a single sword. This kind of strength was too terrifying. The experts from the Skywolf Tower and the Golden Crow clan gasped in disbelief. It had only been a short while, but Lu Ming was already able to kill someone in the absolute saint perfection. This rate of improvement was too shocking. The people from the other forces were also dumbfounded. He's so young and has such combat power. Who is he? Could he be a supreme genius from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy? Those people discussed and no longer dared to underestimate Lu Ming. Let's join forces and kill him. Attack! The Golden Crow tribe cultivator shouted. A river of laws appeared on his body, converging into a terrifying attack that charged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the other few people also launched an attack on Lu Ming. The combat sword in Lu Ming's hand flew out and turned into a destructive sword light, killing everything. Lu Ming's sword gleam pierced through the head of an absolute Saint Peak expert. Then, Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art and punched out continuously. Illusionary prison-suppressing steels appeared and pressed down on the crowd. The remaining two absolute saints couldn't fight back at all under the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel. Their bodies were torn apart. Only the emperor-to-be could resist it. Boom, boom. The emperor-to-be of the Golden Crow race, the river of laws turned into a terrifying flame. Several suns appeared and collided with the shadow of the prison-suppressing steel, blowing it apart. However, his body also trembled violently and he continued to retreat. His eyes were filled with shock. He was an emperor-to-be who had comprehended a law to perfection and formed a river of laws. He was one step into the martial emperor realm. With his cultivation level, not only did he not suppress Lu Ming, but the few collisions just now made him feel that his river of laws was about to be broken. How can this little bastard's combat strength be so strong? Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu took a deep breath and suddenly turned around to run. He had a feeling that if he continued to fight, he would die here. Do you think you can leave now? Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. He stretched out a hand and pointed at the void. High up in the sky, the wind and clouds gathered and a huge finger was formed, pressing down on Quasi-Emperor Golden Crow. The emperor-to-be of the Golden Crow race let out a long cry and transformed into his true form. His wings were hundreds of meters wide. The river of laws surrounded him, and he launched his most powerful attack at the Chaos Finger of Tribulation. Boom! After a violent boom, Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu groaned and his body was sent flying down the island like a cannonball. Chapter 1934. Chapter 1934. Killing an emperor-to-be. Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu was blasted off the island by Lu Ming's chaotic finger of tribulation. His huge body created a huge pit that was thousands of meters wide. Buzz! In the next moment, Quasi-Emperor Golden Crow rushed into the sky, trying to escape. At this moment, he was trembling with fear. He realized that he was no match for Lu Ming. The attack just now had pierced through his river of laws, causing him to be seriously injured. The life force of an emperor-to-be is really tenacious. However, he must die today, Lu Ming said coldly. He rushed out like lightning and chased after Quasi-Emperor Golden Crow. Lu Ming's current cultivation base had reached the absolute saint's greater mastery. As he mastered the chaotic finger, his combat strength became stronger and stronger. He had thought that he could easily kill an emperor-to-be with his combat strength, but it seemed that it would not be so easy. The battle strength of an emperor-to-be was more powerful than he had imagined. However, it would only take a little more effort. Lu Ming's speed was astonishing as he approached Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu at an extreme speed. Chaos Finger! When he was within a certain distance, Lu Ming cast the Finger of Calamity of Chaos again. The giant Finger of Chaos, like the finger of a god, pressed down from the sky. It was a shocking scene. Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu was like a fly, unable to hide from the Chaos Finger. He could only resist with all his might. However, the Finger of Tribulation of Primal Chaos struck down. He screamed in pain and was blasted off the island again. The sky was filled with golden crow feathers. This time, Lu Ming would not let his opponent escape. He appeared in the sky above Quasi-Emperor Golden Crow with an ultimate holy weapon spear in his hand. He swooped down and charged toward Quasi-Emperor Golden Crow. Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu struggled madly, but the result was already determined. The long spear pierced through Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu's head and destroyed his soul. An emperor-to-be was killed by Lu Ming. In all directions, everyone's eyes were solemn. This was a fiend who could even kill an emperor-to-be. It was too shocking. He used the law of chaos. Want to know who he is? He is Lu Ming, the son of chaos. Someone exclaimed as he recognized Lu Ming. It's him. One heard that he was a character who stirred up a storm in the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy. He pulled out the sword of the celestial emperor and united the various kings to fight against the Hengxing River. After that, he established the Dragon Alliance in the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy. So it's him. No wonder he has such strong battle prowess. A series of surprised voices rang out. Although most of the people had not seen Lu Ming before, many of them had heard of his name. The Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy gathered the strongest geniuses of the entire Yuan Mountain and attracted the attention of many. Some of the powerful geniuses there were also paid attention to by many forces. After all, if these geniuses didn't die, they would definitely become the rulers of the Yuan Mountain in the future. Lu Ming put away the storage rings of Quasi-Emperor Jin Wu and the others and continued to fly above the island. The others also gathered their emotions and began to observe the surroundings. The area of the island was not small. However, it did not take Lu Ming long to finish touring it. After flying one round, Lu Ming did not meet any familiar faces. It seems that only a small portion of the people who entered the world of petals have appeared on this island. The others should be in other places. Lu Ming pondered. Lu Ming discovered that no one lived on the island. It was filled with lush forests and some weak demonic beasts. It seems that if one want to know the situation of this world, one have to leave this place first. I wonder if there's anyone living in this world? Lu Ming's imagination ran wild. Then he flew into the distance and into the vast sea. The Lotus World was sealed under the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. It should be related to the Heavenly Emperor. If he could get some of the treasures left by the Heavenly Emperor, it would definitely be an unparalleled opportunity. The rest of the people walked around the island and left one after another, flying toward the boundless ocean. Lu Ming transformed into a ray of light and sped across the sea at an astonishing speed. During this period, he saw huge sea beasts in the sea. However, most of them did not have high cultivation. The strongest sea beast he had seen was only at the Bright Saint realm. He did not know if Lu Ming was unlucky or what, but he did not see the next island as he flew. This world was bigger than Lu Ming had imagined. Lu Ming had been flying for 7 days. He did not know how far he had flown. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. A huge island had appeared in front of him. From a distance, this island was extremely majestic and vast. It was much larger than the previous island. Lu Ming flew towards the island. As he neared, he heard a loud shout coming from a direction. "There's someone." Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he flew in the direction of the sound. Not long after, he saw an empty land. There was an army riding on strange beasts, galloping across the earth with a majestic aura. The earth kept shaking. Most of them are at the spiritual god realm. There are also some at the martial royal realm. Lu Ming used his spiritual senses to scan the area and discovered the general cultivation level of this soldier. Tens of thousands of soldiers ran back and forth on the vast land. Their auras intersected and converged into a flood dragon that roared into the sky. Based on Lu Ming's experience, it was not difficult for him to tell that this was an army training. Lu Ming strolled in the void and looked around. He realized that there was a huge military camp nearby. "Stop, or you." Suddenly, a loud shout was heard and a few figures appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way. "Everyone, I'm just passing by and want to find someone to inquire about some information." Lu Ming cupped his fists and smiled. "To gather information. One think you're a spy. Men, take him down and bring him to young Master Yen." A middle-aged burly man with a gloomy expression waved his hand. A few armored figures stepped forward and surrounded Lu Ming, their cold, killing intent enveloping Lu Ming. Lu Ming shook his head secretly. These people were only around the 7th-level martial emperor realm. Lu Ming could kill them with a single thought. These people's cultivation is low and they're no threat to me. Why don't I go and meet that young Master Yen and ask about the situation in this world? A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. He did not resist and said, "I'll go with you. Take him away." The middle-aged man waved his hand and took the lead. Soon, they arrived at a military camp and walked into a huge military tent. There were a few figures standing on both sides of the tent. Lu Ming scanned them with his spiritual senses and found that they were all half-saints. One of them had even reached the initial bright saint realm. At the top of the military tent sat a young master in luxurious clothes. His gaze was cold and arrogant as he looked down at Lu Ming from above. "Young Master Yen," this person suddenly broke into the military camp. "One suspect that he is a spy sent by another country to spy on our military intelligence. I will bring him here and hand him over to young master to deal with." The middle-aged man saluted the young master with a humble attitude. Chapter 1935. Chapter 1935. "I'm not a spy." The young master lay on his side in his seat. Lai picked up a glass of wine and took a sip. He then glanced at Lu Ming casually and said, "Since you're a spy, why did you bring him here? Just cut it." Then he casually waved his hand. "Yes." The middle-aged man acknowledged the order and walked towards Lu Ming with a cold gaze. "Wait a moment." These people wanted to kill Lu Ming without saying anything. He was speechless. He stopped the middle-aged man in his tracks and looked at Lu Ming coldly. "Brat, what else do you have to say? I've already said that I'm not a spy. I just happened to pass by and wanted to ask you some questions." Lu Ming explained helplessly. "Nonsense. Who in the entire Mingyan country doesn't know that this is the garrison of the Divine Dragon Army? You actually said you were passing by. Isn't that ridiculous?" The middle-aged man shouted coldly. "Why are you talking nonsense with a spy? Drag him down and behead him." Sir Yen said impatiently. On both sides, the others looked at Lu Ming with a faint smile on their faces. It was an expression of superiority, as if he was looking at an ant. The middle-aged man's expression immediately changed. He revealed a ferocious look and said, "Kid, kneel down." He took a step forward and appeared next to Lu Ming. His claws were like an eagle's claws as he tried to grab Lu Ming's shoulder. Lu Ming did not dodge. He stood there without moving. The middle-aged man's claw landed accurately on Lu Ming's shoulder. A majestic energy burst out and surged into Lu Ming's body, trying to make Lu Ming kneel. However, Lu Ming did not move. Even his expression did not change. The middle-aged man's expression changed. He felt as if his claws had grabbed onto a piece of metal. "Kneel down," the middle-aged man roared. His long hair fluttered in the wind and his clothes puffed up. He circulated his LV9 Martial Royal Realm cultivation to the maximum, and a vast amount of power continued to blast into Lu Ming's body. However, Lu Ming still stood there, not moving. In Lu Ming's eyes, a mere LV9 Martial Royal Realm was no different from an ordinary person who did not know how to cultivate. Even if Lu Ming stood still and let the other party kill him, the other party would not be able to touch a single hair on his body. Above the tent, young Master Yen stopped drinking and looked at Lu Ming in surprise. The few people on both sides of the tent also looked at Lu Ming in surprise. To be able to remain unmoving and move like a divine mountain under the power of a LV9 Martial Royal Realm expert, one's cultivation must not be weak. "Little bastard, kneel down," the middle-aged man roared. His face was completely red as he roared. In front of young Master Yen, he could not even make Lu Ming kneel down. This would definitely leave a bad impression in young Master Yan's heart. This was related to his future. He could not wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. "Interesting. Lu Quan, you may leave." Master Yen waved his hand. The middle-aged burly man, Lu Quan, glared at Lu Ming with a murderous look and retreated with hatred. "It seems that you have some ability. Now, kneel down and answer me. Tell me your origin, and I may leave you with an intact corpse." Young Master Yen said lightly. He was still full of arrogance, as if it was a great gift to Lu Ming to leave his corpse intact. Lu Ming frowned slightly. "I've already said that I'm just passing by. Want to find out some information. Since this place is not welcome, 111 take my leave." Having said that, Lu Ming was about to turn around and leave. "How audacious! Impudent! You ungrateful dog! How dare you have such an attitude in front of young Master Yen? Hurry up and kneel." The few people on both sides of the tent shouted one after another. Their powerful auras enveloped Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming did not seem to hear him and continued to walk out. Above the tent, young Master Yan's face darkened. Lu Ming actually dared to treat him with such an attitude. He was simply courting death. "Take him down, but don't kill him yet. Break his limbs." Master Yen said coldly. "Yes." On both sides of the tent, several half-saints received the order and surrounded Lu Ming in a flash. "Kid, kneel down and kowtow to young Master Yen. Then destroy your cultivation. Perhaps young Master Yen will be kind and spare your dog life." Lu Quan was making a scene again. Lu Ming frowned again. Initially, Lu Ming did not think much of these people as they were too weak. He could not be bothered to lower himself to their level. However, the other party kept pressing on, which made Lu Ming a little unhappy. "Brat, why aren't you kneeling?" A half-saint shouted and was about to attack. "Stop!" At this moment, a cold shout was heard. Then, a group of people walked into the tent. The person in the lead was actually a young woman. This woman was extremely beautiful. She was wearing a fiery red armor that accentuated her curvaceous figure. Moreover, she had a heroic spirit. Her temperament was completely different from the women that Lu Ming had met. Behind the young woman, there were 4 strong men. Each of them had a strong aura and was filled with killing intent. Clearly, they were all battle-hardened generals. Seeing this woman, the half-saints' expressions changed. They all bowed and saluted. "Greetings, General Tianjiao." "Back down." The young woman's eyes were like lightning as she glanced at the half-saints. The half-saints looked at young Master Yen with embarrassment. Master Yen waved his hand, and the half-saints left. "Heavenly Flood Dragon, you're here." Master Yen smiled and stood up from his seat. "Yen Song, this place is my divine dragon army. What right do you have to kill people in my divine dragon army?" The young woman's eyes were bright as she stared at Yen Song. Yen Song's eyes revealed a hint of gloominess, but in the next moment he revealed a smile and said, "Tianjiao, this man is a spy. He is here to spy on the military. I didn't inform you, and I was planning to drag him out and kill him." "A spy?" The young woman looked at Lu Ming with a hint of killing intent in her eyes. I'm not a spy. I just happened to pass by. Lu Ming spread his hands. Impudent. You still dare to quibble? You simply don't know what's good for you. Tianjiao, I'll have this person killed first, then I'll talk to you in detail. Yen Song berated. A half-saint immediately stepped forward to take Lu Ming down. Stop. The young woman waved her hand. Since you're a spy, then I have to interrogate you even more. You can all leave. Yes. The 4 strong men who came with the young woman bowed and left. And you guys? The young woman looked at Yen Song. Tianjiao, this person has some cultivation. One don't feel at ease leaving you alone. Yen Song said, if he can kill me, what's the point of you staying? The young woman said, full of confidence in herself. She was the marshal of the Heavenly Dragon Army, the youngest war goddess of the Mingyan country. If even she couldn't defeat him, what was the point of Yen Song and the others staying? Yen Song's expression was ugly. He cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and left with those people. Chapter 1936. Chapter 1936. Ruan Tianjiao, 10,000 Sea Realm. Lu Ming swept a glance at the young lady. Naturally, he could not hide her cultivation from him. The young woman was in the great circle of the Bright Saint stage, which was much higher than the others. No wonder she was so confident. Furthermore, Yen Song's subordinates had previously addressed her as Marshal Tianjiao. It was likely that this woman's identity here was not simple. After the others left, the young lattice eyes glowed as she stared at Lu Ming. You really are a spy? I'm not. I've already said that I'm just passing by and want to inquire about some things. Lu Ming was helpless. He spread his hands and explained again. I believe what you said. The young woman stared at Lu Ming and said, you believe me just like that? This time, it was Lu Ming's turn to be surprised. Because you're very calm. The young woman said, I've been paying attention to you since I came in. You were very calm when you faced Yen Song or me. Even when Yen Song said that he wanted to kill you, you were still very calm. It was as if you were not worried at all. It was as if you wanted to leave and could leave at any time. This was not an act. It was a reflection of your true state of mind. Oh really? Lu Ming touched his nose. Indeed, he didn't care about these people's cultivation at all, so he was naturally very calm. A person with such a mentality is definitely not an ordinary person. There's another point. I'm cultivating the Flood Dragon combat body, but I can feel a strong pressure from you. Your spiritual body is definitely not ordinary. The young woman's eyes were very bright. She stared at Lu Ming as if she was trying to see through him. Just based on these 2 points, you're sure that I'm not a spy? It doesn't seem to be enough. Lu Ming smiled. My intuition tells me that these 2 points are enough. The young woman said. Intuition? Lu Ming was puzzled. Yes, a woman's intuition. Don't you know that a woman's intuition can be very accurate sometimes? The young woman said. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He could not refute this. It was unwise to discuss a woman's intuition with a woman. That's why I'm very curious. For you, which country are you from? The young woman was still staring at Lu Ming. I've said it before. I'm just passing by. In the past, I was cultivating on a deserted island. I've just been born. Lu Ming said casually. Is that so? A glint flashed in the young woman's eyes. Her figure suddenly moved. Like a phantom, she rushed toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed and struck out a palm at him. Of course, this speed was for ordinary people. To Lu Ming, it was no different from a snail. Just as the young woman's palm was about to hit Lu Ming, he raised his hand and lightly slapped. Bang! Lu Ming's palm and the young woman's palm collided. The young woman's delicate body trembled and she drifted backward, but Lu Ming did not move an inch. What a powerful cultivation! I can count on my fingers who have such a cultivation level in the vast C9 nations at this age. I know every one of them, but I don't know anyone like you. It seems that my intuition is right. I'm really curious now. The young woman's eyes were shining. Didn't one already tell you? I've just been born, so you naturally don't know me. Lu Ming said. Oh, if that's the case, Why don't you stay in the Divine Dragon Army? I am the Divine Dragon Army's Marshal, Ruan Tianjiao. The young woman said. Staying here? Impossible. I won't stay here for long. Believe soon. Lu Ming shook his head. He had entered this world to search for the celestial Thearch's treasures. He couldn't stay here for long. There's no need to stay here for a long time. A short time is fine. You can leave whenever you want. Besides, didn't you want to inquire about information before? Perhaps one can help you, Yuan Tianjiao said. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He pondered for a moment and said, All right, I'll stay for the time being. Lu Ming indeed needed to find someone to gather some information. Yuan Tianjiao seemed to have a lot of power here. As a general, he might be able to provide Lu Ming with a lot of help. Yuan Tianjiao's face lit up. She had a feeling that Lu Ming was extraordinary. What's your name? Yuan Tianjiao asked. Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. What do you want to ask? Yuan Tianjiao asked curiously. I want to know where we are. Lu Ming said. This entire island is a country, called the Mingyan country. Yuan Tianjiao said. Then what about going further up? Are there any other countries? How big is this world? Are there any ancient ruins? Lu Ming asked a few questions in succession. You don't even know this? Yuan Tianjiao was very surprised. Haven't I been in closed-door cultivation? One just came out. Lu Ming touched his nose and said, There is an introduction to this world in this jade token. Take a look. Yuan Tianjiao took out a jade tablet and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. He started to read the knowledge in the jade card. After reading it, Lu Ming had a general idea of what was going on. It turned out that this world was called the Realm of 10,000 Seas, and most of its territory was the ocean. However, there were also countless islands in the ocean. Some of the islands were not big and were deserted, not suitable for humans to live on. Some large islands were vast and suitable for humans to live and cultivate. There were countless martial artists living on them, forming their own countries. The Bright Flame Island they were on was a big island. The entire island was a country called the Bright Flame Country. Yuan Tianjiao was one of the 5 great marshals of the Mingyan country, the marshal of the Divine Dragon Army. As for the ancient ruins you mentioned, there are indeed some in the vast sea realm. When one returned to the capital, they'll sort out the information on those ruins and give it to you. How about it? Yuan Tianjiao said. How long before you return to the capital? Lu Ming asked. 1 month later. Don't tell me you can't even wait 1 month. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. From the introduction just now, 10,000 Sea Realm was huge and had countless islands. It would be too difficult for him to search one by one, and he didn't know how long it would take. With Yuan Tianjiao's help, it would save him a lot of time. Come with me, I'll arrange a tent for you. You can stay there first. Yuan Tianjiao then walked out of the tent with Lu Ming following behind. When he walked out of the military tent, he saw Yen Song's group standing not far from the tent. Everyone was stunned when they saw Lu Ming following Yuan Tianjiao out. Heaven Serpent, how is it? Is this brat a spy? One suggests that we kill him immediately. Yen Song said, You're all wrong. He's not a spy. I've already investigated it. You can all leave now. Yuan Tianjiao waved his hand. What? He's not a spy. Tianjiao, don't be fooled by this man. I suggest that we cripple him first, and then slowly interrogate him. Men, take this kid down. Yen Song waved his hand and 2 half-saints walked out from behind him. They were about to attack Lu Ming. Chapter 1937. Chapter 1937. Absolutely extraordinary, enough. Just as the 2 half-saints were walking toward Lu Ming, Yuan Tianjiao shouted coldly. He looked at the 2 half-saints and chided, Back down. The bodies of the 2 half-saints stiffened. They didn't know whether to move or not. Finally, they turned their eyes to Yen Song. Heaven Serpent, what do you mean by this? This person is a spy. Yen Song's expression was a little unsightly. As one said, he's not a spy, but my guest. Also, this is the Divine Dragon Army, not the Yen family. I'm the marshal of the Divine Dragon Army. Do you understand? Yuan Tianjiu's eyes were like lightning as he finally glanced at the two half-saints. The two half-saints' expressions were ugly, but they still retreated. Lu Ming, let's go. Yuan Tianjiu nodded at Lu Ming and walked forward. Yen Song's expression was extremely gloomy. Yuan Tianjiu took a few steps and stopped. He looked at Yen Song and said, Yen Song, I'm telling you, don't call me by my name in the future. We're not that close. After he finished speaking, he no longer paid any attention to Yen Song and strode forward. Damn you, bitch. Yen Song's fists were tightly clenched. His face, which could be considered handsome, was contorted in anger. That Yen Song seems to be very interested in you. After walking for a while, Lu Ming smiled and said, Isn't he just relying on the fact that his father is the current state preceptor and his sister is the emperor's most beloved imperial concubine to do as he pleases? He's lawless and is a typical hedonistic son. He has harmed countless women from good families. Now, he has actually come to the camp of the Divine Dragon Army to pester me. Yuan Tianjiu said with a cold face. Lu Ming thought to himself, it seems that Yuan Tianjiu's impression of Yen Song is really bad. Lu Ming, Yen Song is a narrow-minded person. You've offended him today, so you must be careful in the future. Yuan Tianjiu warned. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled faintly, his expression indifferent. A mere Yen Song wasn't worthy of his attention. Not long after, they arrived at a military tent. This would be where Lu Ming would be staying in the future. Lu Ming, this is a military order. Take it. You can enter and leave the Divine Dragon Army's camp freely in the future. Yuan Tianjiu passed a token to Lu Ming. Many thanks. Lu Ming received it and cupped his fists to express his gratitude. He was a little surprised. He had just met Yuan Tianjiu and the other party trusted him so much? After that, Lu Ming temporarily stayed in the Divine Dragon Army. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. Lu Ming and some of Yuan Tianjiu's subordinates had become quite familiar with each other. As for Lu Ming, he also knew more about this world, the Mingyan country, and even Yuan Tianjiu. What surprised Lu Ming was that Yuan Tianjiu's status in Mingyan country was higher than he had imagined. Mingyan country's goddess of war, this was how everyone in Mingyan country addressed Yuan Tianjiu. Yuan Tianjiu came from a military family and had rare talent. He was young, but his cultivation had already reached the great circle of the Bright Saint stage. He stood at the peak of Mingyan country and was one of the strongest people there. He had made great contributions to the country and was known as the goddess of war. He was loved by the people. As for Yen Song, he was the son of the current state preceptor, and his sister was the country ruler's most beloved imperial concubine, with power that could topple the entire Mingyan country. Yen Song was lecherous by nature and had harmed countless women. Now, he had set his sights on Yuan Tianjiu and often ran to the camp of the Divine Dragon Army to harass him. It seems that the martial arts in this world are not very high. Lu Ming pondered. According to Lu Ming's understanding, he realized that the martial arts in this world were not high and could not be compared to that of Yuan Lu. Yuan Tianjiu's cultivation was at the great circle of the Bright Saint stage. In the country of Mingyan, he was already a peak expert. Time flew by, and several days passed. Lu Ming stood on a mountain peak and looked into the distance. On the flat land in front of them, an army was galloping on strange beasts. Their killing intent was like a rainbow, forming a huge flood dragon that roared into the sky. It's a pretty good army. They've been through hundreds of battles. It's a pity that their cultivation is a little weak, and their battle formation isn't exquisite enough. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Not long after, a few figures stepped through the air and landed in front of Lu Ming. It was Yuan Tianjiu and a few of his subordinates. Lu Ming, what do you think of my Divine Dragon Army? Yuan Tianjiu asked. No. Lu Ming shook his head. Can't. Yuan Tianjiu revealed a stunned expression. You're boasting shamelessly, kid. You don't know anything, do you? The Divine Dragon Army is the #1 army among the 5 strongest armies in the Mingyan country. How dare you say you can't do it? What a joke. One of Yuan Tianjiu's subordinates was instantly enraged. His eyes widened as if he could not wait to eat Lu Ming. No means no. Other than his fighting spirit and baleful chi, he's completely useless, especially his battle formation. Lu Ming pursed his lips. Since Ruan Tianjiao wanted to ask him, he would naturally tell him the truth. A few of the officers glared at Lu Ming. They initially thought that Lu Ming might be the number one figure. Now, they felt that Lu Ming was just a person who talked big. Lu Ming, my Flood Dragon battle formation is the number one battle formation in Minyan country. How could you say that it's useless? Ruan Tianjiao's expression did not look too good either. He looked at Lu Ming with a hint of hidden bitterness. You were the one who asked me, I'm just speaking from my heart. Lu Ming touched his nose and was somewhat speechless. So you have an even stronger battle formation? Ruan Tianjiao continued to look at Lu Ming with hidden bitterness. Yes, I do. Take a look at this. A jade tablet appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he threw it to Ruan Tianjiao. Ruan Tianjiao took the jade token and after scanning it with his spiritual sense, he cried out, "This is the true dragon battle formation. What a wondrous battle formation!" Lu Ming had indeed given the true dragon battle formation to Ruan Tianjiao. Back then, when he was helping Ouyang Wushuang fight for the position of crown prince, he had duplicated a few jade tokens. This battle formation was not of much use to Lu Ming, so there was no harm in giving it to Ruan Tianjiao. Seeing Ruan Tianjiao lose his composure, a few of the generals looked at each other. Could it be that Lu Ming had really given them a battle formation that was stronger than the Flood Dragon battle formation? Ruan Tianjiao's mind sank into the jade token, carefully studying it as if he was entranced. After a moment, she was overjoyed and said, "Immediately train the new battle formation." Then he rushed toward the battlefield, and the four generals followed him with confused faces. In the following time, Ruan Tianjiao was focused on training the new combat formation. If there was anything he did not understand, he would come and ask Lu Ming. In a short 10 days, the battle formation training had taken shape. The army gathered and activated the true dragon battle formation. A true dragon formed and roared into the sky. Its might was many times stronger than the flood dragon from before. At this moment, Ruan Tianjiao and her subordinates were already in awe of Lu Ming. No one suspected that Lu Ming was a spy. How could a spy give them such a brilliant battle formation to cultivate? Ruan Tianjiao was even more glad that her intuition was right. Lu Ming was definitely not an ordinary person. Lu Ming had given her such a precious battle formation so casually as if he did not take it seriously. How could he be an ordinary person? Chapter 1938. Chapter 1938. Kneel down. During this period of time, Yen Song was extremely depressed and furious. In Yen Song's military tent, he slammed his palm heavily on the table. The terrifying force of his palm smashed the table into pieces. "Damned bitch!" Yen Song bellowed. His face was incomparably malevolent and filled with killing intent. During this period of time, every time he looked for Ruan Tianjiao, he would be stopped by Ruan Tianjiao's subordinates. They said that Ruan Tianjiao had to focus on training the army and had no time. However, the news he received was that Ruan Tianjiao was always hanging out with Lu Ming. "Young master, it seems like Ruan Tianjiao has been bewitched by Lu Ming. One wonder what kind of drug that kid has given Ruan Tianjiao? That's right. It's all because of Lu Ming. When I first saw him, I knew that he wasn't a good person. If not for that kid, Ruan Tianjiao might have already fallen into the young master's arms." A few of Yen Song's subordinates added fuel to the fire, causing Yen Song to become even angrier. His killing intent was like a knife. "That brat must die." Yen Song coldly spoke and continued, "I told you to keep an eye on that kid. Where is he now?" "Young master, we just received news that the brat has returned to the camp." One of them answered, "Very good. Let's go. I want this kid to die a miserable death." A sinister look appeared in Yen Song's eyes. He led a few of his subordinates and walked towards Lu Ming's tent. Lu Ming was cultivating in the military tent when a loud roar suddenly came from outside. "Lu Ming, get out here!" A voice filled with murderous intent was heard, causing Lu Ming to frown. He knew it was Yen Song's voice the moment he heard it. A sharp glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He got up and walked out of the tent. He saw Yen Song and a few of his subordinates looking at Lu Ming with a cold expression. Around the military tent, some members of the Divine Dragon Army were alarmed and gathered around to watch. However, Yen Song's status was no small matter, so no one dared to come over and speak. "What's the matter?" Lu Ming cast a faint glance at him. "Brat, I've already given you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Now, you even dare to snatch my woman. You really don't know what's good for you." Yen Song said coldly. "You're giving me a chance?" Lu Ming could not help but shake his head. "Who would give who a chance then? You lowly dog, why don't you take a piss and see who you are? How dare you go against me? A dog like you should kneel in front of me and beg for mercy. Do you understand? Kill him." Yen Song shouted and waved his hand. Bang, bang. The two half-saint martial artists stepped out. Their powerful auras burst out and they were about to attack Lu Ming. "Stop, young Master Yen. Lu Ming is the general's friend. If the general finds out that you're treating Lu Ming like this, I'm afraid you won't be able to answer to him." At this moment, a burly man rushed over and shouted. He was a deputy general of the Divine Dragon Army. During this period of time, he had become quite familiar with Lu Ming. "Get lost!" Yen Song shouted angrily and slapped the burly man. The burly man did not dare to resist and was slapped in the face. He staggered and retreated. "Who do you think you are? I don't need you to criticize me. If you say any more nonsense, I'll kill you as well." Yen Song's cold gaze swept across the burly man, causing him to turn pale. "This is bad. Yen Song wants to kill Lu Ming. Quickly inform the marshal." In the surroundings, some people muttered. After that, some people quickly left to inform Ruan Tianjiao. "I'll make you pay for this slap 10 times over." Lu Ming looked at Yen Song, his expression turning cold. "Ha, you're talking big. Let's do it." Yen Song laughed heartily. "Kid, kneel down first." The two half-saints charged at Lu Ming from both sides. They waved their hands at Lu Ming, intending to make him kneel in front of Yen Song before killing him. "Since you like to kneel then, kneel down." Lu Ming used the soul illusion on the last word. At this moment, in the eyes of the two half-saints, Lu Ming seemed to have transformed into a demonic god who ruled the world and had the power to kill. The two of them were almost scared out of their wits by the terrifying aura. The two of them seemed to have lost control of their bodies. They knelt down in front of Lu Ming with a plop. This, Yen Song was dumbfounded. His two other subordinates were also dumbfounded. The surrounding Divine Dragon Army soldiers were also stunned. What was going on? Why were Yen Song's two half-saint subordinates suddenly kneeling in front of Lu Ming? As for Lu Ming, he did not do anything at all. He only said softly, "Kneel down." These were two half-saints, the closest to being a saint? Could it be that Lu Ming was a saint? Everyone secretly guessed. "It seems that your two subordinates know that they were wrong and are kneeling down to beg for mercy. If you don't kneel down, one might consider sparing you." Lu Ming looked at Yen Song indifferently. "You dog, you actually dare to fight back. You are indeed a spy. Attack and kill him." Yen Song reacted, and the anger in his heart soared to the sky as he roared loudly. "Kill!" Beside Yen Song, an old man stepped out, and a terrifying aura bloomed. The old man was a lower-tier bright saint and was a well-known top master in the country. The old man's aura bloomed, causing many people's faces to change. This was a saint, a top cultivator of Mingyan country. A half-saint couldn't compare to him. Why isn't the marshal here yet? Some people were anxious and worried for Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming had made the two half-saints kneel down, the difference between the saint realm and the half-saint realm was too great. The old man's aura grew stronger and stronger, pressing towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was still standing there, motionless, as if he did not see the old man. Deliberately mystifying, "Die for this old man." The old man's eyes were filled with ferocity. His claws were like blades as he clawed at Lu Ming. "Kneel down." At this moment, Lu Ming spoke again. His voice was not loud, but when it fell into the old man's ears, it sounded like thunder. It was as if a god was shouting in his ear. At this moment, his soul was under a terrifying pressure. He couldn't use any power in his body. Plop. Just like the two half-saints, he knelt down in front of Lu Ming. The entire place fell silent. At this moment, time and space seemed to have frozen. Everyone was dumbfounded. They looked at Lu Ming coldly and then at the old man. A saint actually knelt down in front of Lu Ming. A moment ago, he was filled with killing intent and wanted to kill Lu Ming. The next moment he knelt in front of Lu Ming. What was going on? Many people realized that their brains were already unable to process this. They had never seen such a thing before. A Saint Realm expert didn't even fight and directly knelt down. What kind of trick was this? Yen Song was also stunned. His mouth was so wide open that he could swallow a dead rat. His throat seemed to be stuck by something, and he could not make a sound for a long time. It seems that your subordinates are very sensible. They have recognized their mistakes and knelt down to admit their mistakes. Now, why don't you kneel down? Lu Ming looked at Yen Song and spoke indifferently. Chapter 1939. Chapter 1939. I'm sorry, I called too much. Lu Ming opened his mouth. Yen Song seemed to have woken up from a dream and reacted. You dog, what kind of demonic technique did you use that you actually made the saint of Ming Yen country kneel? How dare you? Just you wait, this matter is not over. After saying this, Yen Song turned around and was about to leave. Lu Ming was too strange. He could actually make an expert of the sage state kneel down. He felt his hair standing on end. He wanted to return to the capital first and report to his father. Then he would send experts to take revenge. Did I let you go? Lu Ming's indifferent voice rang out. He moved and appeared in front of Yen Song. His cold, knife-like gaze swept toward Yen Song, causing Yen Song's expression to change drastically. He could not help but take a few steps back. What do you want to do? Yen Song shouted. Kneel down and slap your own mouth. Lu Ming said calmly. You dare? Kid, you dare to touch me? Do you understand the consequences? Yen Song shouted. Oh, what are the consequences? Lu Ming said playfully. You dog, listen up. My father is the state preceptor, and my sister is His Majesty's most beloved imperial concubine. They'll make sure you die a graveless death and 111 exterminate your entire family. Yen Song shouted and glared at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. He did not believe that Lu Ming would dare to touch him. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming swung his palm. This slap was unbelievably fast, and Yen Song had no way of dodging it. Put. The crisp sound of a slap spread in all directions. Yen Song flew out and spun dozens of times in the air. Then he fell heavily to the ground. Half of his face was puffed up and his teeth were all knocked out by Lu Ming. Yen Song was stunned. The others were also stunned. Lu Ming actually dared to hit Yen Song. He was really bold. Yen Song roared hysterically. Just now, he had come with a murderous intent and wanted to kill Lu Ming. In the end, a few of his subordinates had knelt in front of Lu Ming for no reason. Now, Lu Ming actually dared to slap him. This was a great humiliation. He could not wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Slap his mouth, you're courting death, Lu Ming said coldly. He swung his palm in the air. A palm condensed from holy power was formed and slapped Yen Song's face ruthlessly. Yen Song's body flew out again and spun a few rounds in the air. Under Lu Ming's control, he fell to the ground and knelt there. I said just now, one want you to pay me back 10 times. You gave me 1 slap, so one will give you 10 slaps. Lu Ming said coldly. He waved his hand again and gave 10 more slaps. After 10 consecutive slaps, Yen Song's face had completely turned into a pig's head. His face was swollen beyond recognition. I'm sorry, I slapped you 2 more times. Lu Ming pursed his lips. In addition to the 2 slaps from before, he had a total of 12 slaps. Yen Song was so furious that he spat out a mouthful of blood. This was simply bullying. Buzz. At this moment, a streak of light flew over from the distance and landed on the ground. Yuan Tianjiao had arrived. When she received the news, she rushed over. When she saw this scene, she was quite speechless. Yen Song actually dared to lay his hands on Lu Ming. He was really looking for a beating. She had rushed over not because she was worried about Lu Ming, but because she was afraid that Lu Ming would kill Yen Song in a fit of anger. After all, Yen Song was the son of the state preceptor. If he died, there would be trouble. Heavenly Flood Dragon, you've come at the right time. This Lu Ming is a spy. He actually dared to hit the experts of our Mingyan country. Quickly call for people to take him down and cripple his cultivation. Then, bring him back to the capital for interrogation. Seeing Ruan Tianjiao, Yen Song cried out hysterically again. Ruan Tianjiao secretly shook his head. This Yen Song really didn't change. Yen Song, I've told you long ago that Lu Ming is my guest, not a spy. Moreover, you were the one who started this. You're the one who brought it upon yourself. Ruan Tianjiao said indifferently. What did you just say? I asked for it? Ruan Tianjiao, you adulterous couple, just you wait. Yen Song's anger soared to the sky. He left behind a few harsh words and staggered away. Get lost. Following that, Lu Ming waved his hand and a few of Yen Song's subordinates flew out and landed heavily on the ground. Then they climbed up in a sorry state and fled. Lu Ming, thank you for not killing Yen Song. Ruan Tianjiao cupped her fists at Lu Ming. She also understood that Lu Ming did not kill Yen Song because he was most likely thinking for her. Lu Ming smiled faintly. I hit Yen Song. Will I implicate you? He asked. No, I'm one of the 5 great marshals of the Mingyan country after all. Yen Song can't do anything to me. Ruan Tianjiao shook his head. This matter was over just like that. After that, Ruan Tianjiao continued to train the army while Lu Ming cultivated every day. After more than 10 days, he would head to the capital with Ruan Tianjiao. Time flew by and 7 days passed. On this day, someone from the capital came with the emperor's imperial edict. Ruan Tianjiao received the decree. The one who came to deliver the decree was a thin old man. He squinted his eyes and smiled. General Tianjiao, congratulations. His Majesty has decreed a marriage for you to young Master Yen Song. The marriage will be completed in a few days. What? These words were like a bolt from the blue, causing Ruan Tianjiao to be stunned. Even Ruan Tianjiao's subordinates were stunned. The emperor bestowed a marriage and betrothed Ruan Tianjiao to Yen Song? How was this possible? Master Chow, are you mistaken? I'm the marshal of an army. How could His Majesty grant me a marriage so easily? Ruan Tianjiao asked. Sir Chaos' face darkened. His Majesty personally issued a decree. Furthermore, it has already been announced to the world. How can it be wrong? Damn it, it must be Yen Song. What did he say to His Majesty when he returned? It's most likely his sister, Consort Qing, who bewitched His Majesty. Ruan Tianjiao's subordinates were furious. Needless to say, Yen Song was definitely behind this. Yen Song pursued Ruan Tianjiao, but Ruan Tianjiao never gave Yen Song a good attitude. 7 days ago, Yen Song was taught a lesson by Lu Ming. He must have harbored a grudge. After he returned to the capital, he must have said something to the emperor. Otherwise, why would the emperor suddenly bestow a marriage? Marshal Tianjiao, accept the decree and thank His Majesty for his kindness. Sir Chow said coldly. Lord Chow, please go back. Please forgive me for not being able to receive the decree. Ruan Tianjiao said with a dark expression. What? If you don't accept the decree, Ruan Tianjiao, do you want to disobey the decree? Sir Chow rebuked coldly. So what if I defy the decree? That incapable ruler is becoming more and more muddled. One of the officers said coldly. How dare you? How dare you insult His Majesty? This is a capital crime. Sir Chow pointed at the general and shouted. I think you'll die first. The general exuded a cold killing intent as he looked at Sir Chow with cold eyes. Sir Chow shivered. His face was pale and he broke out in a cold sweat. If Ruan Tianjiao revolted in a fit of anger and killed him, he would have died an unjust death. Sir Chow, please go back. One won't accept this imperial edict. I will personally return to the capital and find His Majesty to clarify things. Ruan Tianjiao said coldly. It was as if Sir Chao had been granted amnesty, and he left with his tail between his legs. Chapter 1940. The Time God Mountain. Chapter 1940. The Time God Mountain. I'll leave tomorrow and return to the capital. I'll leave the Divine Dragon Army in your hands for this period of time. Yuan Tianjiao looked at the generals. Marshal, let's just rebel. One of the officers said. That's right. His Majesty is fatuous and infatuated with Consort Qing. He doesn't care about the state affairs, and all the power is controlled by the state preceptor. The people are in misery and suffering. Why don't we rebel and replace him? The marshal is the goddess of war and has contributed greatly to the Ming Yan kingdom. The people will definitely welcome the marshal to replace her. A few of the generals spoke out one after another, persuading Yuan Tianjiao to rebel and kill his way to the capital. Shut up! Yuan Tianjiao shouted, and everyone shut up. The Yuan family has been loyal generals for generations. How can we rebel? In the future, there is no need to mention such things again. Otherwise, we will be punished by military law. Yuan Tianjiao shouted, his eyes like lightning, causing the generals' expressions to turn ugly and indignant. Marshal, we'll go with you to the capital tomorrow. If the Yen family has any schemes, we'll be able to look out for them. One of the officers said. No need. Your mission is to guard the Divine Dragon Army. One have the power to protect myself. Yuan Tianjiao said. I'll go with you tomorrow. A voice was heard. It was Lu Ming. Naturally, Lu Ming had seen everything that happened just now. He was originally going to the capital, so he was going with Yuan Tianjiao. Yuan Tianjiao looked at Lu Ming and then nodded. The next day, Lu Ming and Yuan Tianjiao each rode a strange beast and headed towards the capital of Mingyan country. This island was very vast, but the strange beasts they were riding on were astonishingly fast. Like a gust of wind, they arrived at the capital of Mingyan in 3 days. On the way, Yuan Tianjiao explained the situation in Mingyan country. Ever since Mingyan country's emperor fell in love with consort Shanqing, he abandoned the government and the imperial advisor took control. For the sake of his own cultivation, the imperial advisor plundered the treasures of the entire Mingyan country, causing the people to live in poverty and the country's strength to decline day by day. Now, the most powerful person in Mingyan country was the imperial advisor. The capital of the Mingyan kingdom was huge and lively. However, Lu Ming had seen the prosperity of the Heavenly Emperor City. Compared to the Heavenly Emperor City, the capital of the Mingyan kingdom was like a wild village. The two of them rode on their strange beasts and entered the capital, heading towards the palace. Greetings, Marshal Tianjiao. Greetings, Heavenly Serpent Female War God. The moment they entered the capital, the people on the road all saluted Yuan Tianjiao when they saw him. It seems like you're loved by the people. Lu Ming smiled and sent a voice transmission to Yuan Tianjiao. I'm only doing my part. Yuan Tianjiao nodded to everyone and continued forward. Sigh, such a peerless person like General Tianjiao actually has to marry that bastard Yen Song. What a pity. Isn't that so? But now that the Yen family is so powerful that even His Majesty listens to them, what can we do? It's just a pity for Marshal Heavenly Dragon. Lu Ming could hear the people's laments and discussions. Not long after, they came to a stretch of palace halls. This was the imperial palace, but they were blocked outside the imperial palace. General Tianjiao, please forgive us. His Majesty has ordered that we will not see anyone for the next 2 days. A general who was guarding the gate cupped his fists and said, Go and report that I've returned. Yuan Tianjiao said with a frown. His Majesty has said that if Marshal Tianjiao returns, there is no need to inform him. His Majesty will prepare a banquet 3 days later to welcome the Marshal. Marshal, please come back 3 days later. The general at the gate said. Yuan Tianjiao frowned. He did not say anything else and left the palace with Lu Ming. Not long after, they arrived in front of a mansion with the words, the Yuan Residence. This was Yuan Tianjiao's residence in the capital. They were temporarily staying at the Yuan Residence. After arranging a room for Lu Ming, Yuan Tianjiao left the Yuan Residence for an unknown reason. A day later, Ruan Tianjiao returned. Lu Ming, I've brought you the information you wanted about the ancient monument. Ruan Tianjiao found Lu Ming and handed him a jade tablet. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. Indeed, he found some ancient relics in the 10,000 Seas realm. Heavenly Serpent, where is the most famous relic in the 10,000 Sea realm? Lu Ming asked after a while. Of course, it's the Time God Mountain. Legend has it that the Time God Mountain has existed for countless years and was left behind by an undying. Yuan Tianjiao said. Undying? Lu Ming muttered. During this time, he had a deeper understanding of the martial arts cultivation and realms in the 10,000 Sea realm. The realms and titles in the 10,000 Sea realm were the same as those in the outside world. They went all the way to the Martial Emperor, then the Bright Saint, the Supreme Saint, and the Absolute Saint. However, after he became an Absolute Saint, there were changes. Above Absolute Saint, the 10,000 Sea realm was called Saint Emperor. Lu Ming speculated that a sacred emperor was equivalent to an emperor-to-be in the outside world. According to the ancient records and legends of the Mingyan country, the Holy Emperor was the highest realm in the world. Further up was the Undying. Immortality, endless lifespan, undying and imperishable. But in the 10,000 Sea realm, it was a legend. It had never appeared. Lu Ming speculated that the immortal in the 10,000 Sea realm was the martial emperor in the outside world. The Time God Mountain was left behind by an undying being. Could it be the Celestial the Arch? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He had to go and take a look at the Time God Mountain. It might have something to do with the Celestial the Arch. How can one go to the Time God Mountain? Lu Ming asked. I don't know either. No. Ruan Tianjiao shook his head. Legend has it that the Time God Mountain is on the Time God Island, but no one has ever found it. Has no one been there before? Lu Ming frowned. Of course, someone has. Every 3 years, the Time Island sends an emissary to bring a group of people to the island to cultivate. It's said that the cultivation conditions there are unique, and it's a holy land of martial arts that countless people in the Myriad Sea realm yearn for. It's not too far away from the time of the next trip to the Divine Time Island. Soon, the 9 nations of the vast sea will have an alliance meeting to select a quota to go to the Divine Time Island. The Mingyan Kingdom will also be participating. Lu Ming, if you want to go to the Divine Time Island, this is an opportunity. Ruan Tianjiao explained. An alliance of the 9 nations? There was a flash of light in Lu Ming's eyes. He definitely had to make a trip to the Time Mountain. Lu Ming estimated that the experts who entered from the outside world would most likely head to the Time God Mountain. After all, it was suspected to have been left behind by the Celestial Emperor. If there were any treasures, they would definitely be priceless. Time flew by and 3 days passed. 3 days later, Lu Ming and Ruan Tianjiao headed for the palace. This time, someone welcomed them into the palace and they came to an empty space. This place had beautiful mountains and clear waters, and the environment was very elegant. At this time, there were already some banquet tables placed on both sides of the area. When Lu Ming and Xiao Mu arrived, they realized that there were already many people. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, he felt a cold gaze directed at him. Lu Ming followed the direction of the gaze and found Yen Song staring at him with a murderous look. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He could not be bothered with Yen Song and started to look around. Follow current novels on Top Novelful. Chapter 1941. Chapter 1941, All-Round Suppression. Chapter 1941. Chapter 1941, All-Round Suppression. Beside Yen Song sat a thin old man. His hair was white and he was dressed in fine clothes. His appearance was similar to Yen Song's. Lu Ming guessed that this person should be the state preceptor. The imperial advisor's eyes squinted slightly with a faint smile. It was impossible to tell what he was thinking, but he gave off the feeling of a wily old fox. In the middle of the room, there were 2 people. One of them was an old man with snow-white hair. He wore a dragon robe and a jade crown. From the looks of it, he should be the king of Mingyan country. Beside the king of Mingyan country sat a beautiful woman. This woman looked to be in her 20s. She had a lithe figure, and her eyes were like silk. She was extremely charming and enchanting. This person should be Yen Song's older sister, Consort Qing. In the other seats, there were also some people sitting. Each of them had an extraordinary temperament. They should all be high-level figures of Ming Yen country. Yuan Tianjiao strode forward and bowed to the king of Ming Yen country. Your humble servant greets your majesty. Tianjiao is back. No need for formalities, please take a seat. The king of Ming Yen laughed. Many thanks, your majesty, Yuan Tianjiao said. With that, he and Lu Ming walked to a row of seats at the side and sat down. How dare you, Lu Ming? Who do you think you are? What right do you have to sit there? Lu Ming had just sat down when on the other side, Yen Song slammed the table and stood up. He looked at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. They were going to make things difficult so quickly. Why aren't you getting up? Don't you see where you are? Who was the person sitting here? Do you have the right to sit here with your status? Quickly get up and roll to the side. Yen Song berated once again. However, Lu Ming did not seem to hear her. He picked up the wine glass on the table and slowly took a sip. Good wine, it's really good wine. Unfortunately, there's a wild dog barking and it spoiled my mood. How bold! Yen Song was furious. His eyes were filled with malevolent killing intent. You think you're very noble? Why did you kneel in front of me? Lu Ming smiled in disdain. Shut up. Men, take this person's seat away. Yen Song shouted. Immediately, someone stepped forward and wanted to take away Lu Ming's seat. The king of Ming Yen country, Consort Qing, the state preceptor, and the others all looked on indifferently, as if they were watching a good show. Get lost, stop, Yuan Tianjiao shouted. A murderous aura that had been on the battlefield emanated from her, causing the guard who was about to take Lu Ming's seat to freeze and stop in his tracks. Lu Ming is my friend. If you want to remove Lu Ming's position, you can remove mine as well. Yuan Tianjiao shouted. The guard was stunned and didn't know what to do. Yuan Tianjiao's status could not be compared to Lu Ming's. He was the marshal of the Divine Dragon Army and the goddess of war of the Ming Yen country. How would he dare to remove Yuan Tianjiao from his seat? Retreat? Why aren't we retreating? Yuan Tianjiao's gaze was threatening as he stared at the guard. Cold sweat broke out on the guard's face as he cast a pleading look at Yen Song, the state preceptor, and the others. Damn it! Yen Song was incomparably furious and extremely jealous. It was unknown what medicine Lu Ming had given Yuan Tianjiao to make him protect Lu Ming. And NBS, okay, you can leave. Since this little brother is a friend of a genius 9-star general, you can naturally sit here. At this moment, the imperial advisors spoke indifferently. The guard felt as if he had been granted amnesty. He let out a long breath, bowed, and retreated. Tianjiao, you've returned just in time. I've already bestowed you with a marriage, and the date has already been set. You've returned just in time to complete the marriage with Yen Song. The country ruler said from above. Your Majesty, this lowly subject has returned from this trip because of this matter. Matters of the heart cannot be forced. This lowly subject does not have the slightest feeling for Yen Song. Your Majesty, please retract your order. Yuan Tianjiao stood up and bowed to the king. Impudent! Beside the monarch, Consort Qing shouted coldly, the emperor does not play with his words. Since his majesty has already given the decree, how can he take it back? Yuan Tianjiao, do you want his majesty to be a man of his word? This lowly subject doesn't dare, yes. Yuan Tianjiao cupped his fists and said, for other matters, one will definitely respect you. If you want me to go to the battlefield and kill the enemy, I will not even frown. But for this matter, I cannot accept your orders. Tianjiao, Consort Qing has also said that the emperor does not play with his words. Moreover, Yen Song is not bad and is a good match for you. Let's settle this matter. The country ruler waved his hand, his tone unquestionable. Yuan Tianjiao was simply in disbelief. He didn't expect that the country ruler would actually marry her to Yen Song so rashly without her consent. Although the previous country ruler was muddle-headed, he wouldn't have done this. His Majesty has already announced to the world that the two of you will be married in half a month. This matter is settled. During this period, General Tian Jiao will stay in the palace. The imperial advisor spoke as if he had decided on this matter. Yuan Tianjiao shook his head and was extremely disappointed in the king. Originally, she had come back to demand an explanation from the country ruler and make him retract his order. But now she found out that the country ruler was completely on the side of the state preceptor. Lu Ming did not say a word. There was a strange glint in his eyes. He secretly sized up the king and found something interesting. Tianjiao, I'm afraid that the king will not listen to you. That consort Qing is good at seduction. The king has been bewitched and will listen to consort Qing. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Yuan Tianjiao. What? Yuan Tianjiao was stunned for a moment before he flew into a rage. He suddenly stood up, and a powerful aura emanated from him. He glared at the imperial preceptor and shouted, Yen Kuei and Yen Sun, how dare you use your seduction techniques to bewitch His Majesty? As soon as he said this, the expressions of consort Qing, the state preceptor, Yen Song, and the others changed drastically. Yuan Tianjiao, what nonsense are you spouting? Yen Song bellowed. Whether I'm talking nonsense or not, you both know in your hearts. Yen Kuei, Yen Jing, you dared to secretly harm His Majesty and secretly manipulate His Majesty. No wonder His Majesty ignored the state affairs and gave you all the power. I will announce this matter to the world. Lu Ming, let's go. With that, Yuan Tianjiao strode out. Stop him. The state preceptor's face darkened. With a wave of his hand, 4 figures flickered and surrounded Lu Ming and Yuan Tianjiao. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. Great circle of bright saint. Lu Ming did not even need to look to know that the 4 of them were in the great circle of the bright saint stage and were not weaker than Yuan Tianjiao. The 4 of you are marshals, yet you're willing to degrade yourself and take orders from the state preceptor? Yuan Tianjiao said with a grave expression. These 4 people were as famous as her. The other 4 great generals of Mingyan country had strong combat strength. They were all in the great circle of the bright saint stage. Each of their combat strength was not much weaker than hers. If the 4 of them joined forces, she would definitely not be able to defeat them. Yuan Tianjiao, you disobeyed the decree and are indeed a wolf with wild ambitions. You want a rebel? The imperial advisor spoke indifferently and accused Yuan Tianjiao of a serious crime. You're talking nonsense. Yuan Tianjiao shouted. It was clearly the state preceptor and the others who were rebelling, yet they still said she was rebelling. Follow current novels on Top Novelful. Chapter 1942, Are you guys done? Chapter 1942, Are you guys done? The imperial advisor sneered, You don't even listen to His Majesty's orders. You disobey the decree and are disrespectful. If this isn't a rebellion, what is it? And I've already received news that you've secretly contacted Luoshui Kingdom and attempted to rebel against your superior to destroy Mingyan Kingdom. You deserve to die 10,000 times. Colluding with the Luoshui Kingdom? Nonsense, who would believe your one-sided words? Yuan Tianjiao shouted. You want evidence? We'll give it to you. Come out. The imperial advisor's cold voice was heard. Then a strong man in his 30s walked out. Greetings to your majesty, greetings to the imperial advisor. The brawny man saluted the monarch and the imperial advisor. Wang Xing, what are you doing here? Yuan Tianjiao was very surprised because Wang Xing was his guard and had followed her for many years. However, she did not let Wang Xing come to the capital. Shouldn't Wang Xing be in the Divine Dragon Army? Yuan Tianjiao had a bad feeling in his heart. Wang Xing, tell me everything you know. The imperial advisor said. Wang Xing nodded and said, Yuan Tianjiao has indeed been secretly communicating with the Luoshui Kingdom and has been plotting. When the time is right, he is prepared to plot a rebellion and claim himself as the emperor. However, I am a citizen of the Mingyan Kingdom and am only loyal to the Mingyan Kingdom and His Majesty. How can I allow such a thing to happen? Today, I will reveal Yuan Tianjiao's wild ambitions to the public. Wang Xing's voice reverberated throughout the entire area. Wang Xing, you dare to slander me! Yuan Tianjiao shouted, his entire body trembling with anger. It was obvious that Wang Xing had been bribed by the state preceptor and had framed her together with him. However, Wang Xing was her guard, and many people would believe what he said. Yuan Tianjiao, your scheme has been exposed. Why don't you surrender? However, since Yen Song has pleaded for you, I can spare your life. As long as you destroy your cultivation, marry Yen Song, and hand over your military power, I will not announce your rebellion to the world and protect your innocence. The imperial advisor said coldly, as if he had everything under control. For this matter, he had already started planning. Everything was perfect, and Yuan Tianjiao had no room to resist. The final outcome would be the same. His cultivation would be crippled, he would hand over his military power and marry his son, Yen Song. Yen Song's eyes revealed a smug look as he looked at Yuan Tianjiao and Lu Ming with cold arrogance. A bitch, a dog, and you want to fight with me? You don't know what's good for you. Yen Song laughed heartily, feeling extremely pleased with himself. Especially when he looked at Yuan Tianjiao's heroic face and perfect figure, his heart was burning, and he wanted nothing more than to take Yuan Tianjiao for himself. But soon he told himself, "You guys? Despicable." Yuan Tianjiao trembled with anger. She understood that the state preceptor not only wanted Yen Song to marry her, but also to take away her military power. Now, the other four marshals had already submitted to the imperial advisor. If the Divine Dragon Army was also seized, then the Mingyan country would truly become the imperial advisor's world, and no one would be able to control him. Yuan Tianjiao turned to look at the king, but the king did not even look at her. He was only drinking with Consort Qing. Yuan Tianjiao was thoroughly disappointed. What else? At this moment, Lu Ming's voice was heard faintly. What? The state preceptor, Yen Song, and the rest were stunned. They did not understand what Lu Ming meant. If you're not talking, then you're done, right? Since you're done, it's my turn to speak. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the surroundings. He said with a faint smile, today's matter is like this. The imperial advisor, Yen Song, and Consort Qing led the masses to rebel and kill the monarch, intending to replace him. Then, Marshal Tianjiao arrived with his men and killed the rebellious imperial advisor and the others to avenge the monarch. In the end, with the support of the people, Yuan Tianjiao became the empress of the Ming Yen country. What? The state preceptor, Yen Song, Consort Qing, and everyone else at the scene, including Yuan Tianjiao, were all dumbfounded. After a long while, he finally reacted. This kid is about to die. It looks like he's scared crazy. Yen Song laughed so hard that his tears were flowing. The state preceptor, Consort Qing, and the others also laughed. Their laughter was full of contempt. Lu Ming's intention was to kill all of them and then let Yuan Tianjiao sit on the throne of the empress. Was that possible? It was really crazy talk. The imperial advisor and the others shook their heads. Lu Ming did not seem to notice the state preceptor and the rest's expressions. Instead, he looked at Yuan Tianjiao and said, "Sky Flood Dragon, what do you think of my idea?" Yuan Tianjiao was stunned and didn't react for a moment. "I understand. It's not easy for you to do it. Let me do it." Lu Ming smiled, then stood up and walked toward Yen Song. "This person is crazy. Kill him." Yen Song shouted, "Brat, you're talking nonsense." That one of the 9-star generals shouted. He took a step forward, and the ground rumbled. His burly body rushed toward Lu Ming like a mountain. His aura was shocking. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm. It was as if he did not see the general make a move. He allowed the general to attack him. "Be careful!" Yuan Tianjiao cried out in alarm, but it was too late to save him. "Brat, go to hell!" Yen Song roared in his heart, his eyes filled with pride. He wanted to compete with him for his woman. He didn't know what was good for him. At this moment, Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the marshal. 2 dark rays of light flashed in his eyes. Then, everyone saw the general's body tremble, and he fell to the ground with a thud. He was no longer breathing. He was dead. The general died suddenly and silently. No one saw how the general died or how Lu Ming did it. The The scene suddenly became quiet. The Imperial advisor's eyes squinted and a cold light flashed in them. How dare you kill the commander of an army? If this isn't a rebellion, what is it? Let's attack together and kill this man. Beside the monarch, Consort Qing shouted. Boom, boom, boom. The other 3 9-star generals attacked at the same time. All 3 of them were in the great circle of the Bright Saint stage. When they attacked together, their momentum was rather terrifying. They wanted to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. Die! Lu Ming did not even look at the 3 marshals. His gaze was fixed on Yen Song and he softly uttered a word. And NBSP, the power of the God Sword art spread out along with the sound and entered the 3 9-star generals' bodies. The 3 marshals were the same as the previous marshal. Their bodies trembled slightly and their souls were destroyed by Lu Ming. Their bodies fell limply and they were no longer breathing. Dead, he died again. The 4 great marshals, the top cultivators of the Mingyan country, were all dead in an instant. No one saw how they died. A series of gasps rang out in the venue. They only heard Lu Ming say the word die indifferently and the 3 marshals were dead. This was too terrifying. What kind of sacred art was this? It was as if Lu Ming was the god of death and whoever he wanted to kill had to die. Yen Song's expression changed. He became as pale as a sheet of paper and his eyes were filled with fear. The state preceptor and Consort Qing's expressions also changed, becoming extremely serious. They knew that they had encountered a troublesome expert. Follow current novels on Top Novelful. Seem that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.